A Gold Star father who called out President Biden for the death of his son in Afghanistan was arrested and charged with a misdemeanor. And I honestly, I didn't believe it when I saw the story, because we knew that the guy, that this father had been yelling during the State of the Union. We knew he had been escorted out, but to find out later he was arrested and charged with a misdemeanor is shocking. Joe Biden and his administration should have intervened immediately to protect this guy, recognizing what he was upset about. I think the most important thing is this was not even the most disruptive yelling of the night during the State of the Union. So it is the most shockingly offensive, but why is that surprising? Now, I'm not going to say, definitively that Joe Biden went there, banged on the door, and demanded the guy be arrested. He was speaking when they brought the guy out and charged him. But certainly by now, he could have intervened and said, are you nuts? This is a man whose child died in Afghanistan under Joe Biden's failed administrative policies and military policies. Naturally, he's upset. It's surprising. Now, Joe Biden's actually getting heavily criticized for calling Laken Riley Lincoln Riley. And it's funny to see the corporate press say, wow, Joe Biden was so strong. He was so on point. So we're going to be doing a follow-up postmortem on the State of the Union address and where we're at. And shout out to Donald Trump, who had the memes. He posted this video on Instagram where he was using like Snapchat filters on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It's just so funny. So we're going to have a fun time tonight talking about all that. Before we get started, my friends, head over to castbrew.com and buy our coffee. Cast Brew Coffee is our coffee company. When you buy from Cast Brew, you are supporting the work we do. We sponsor ourselves. It's our coffee. So you can pick up your Rise with Roberto Jr. Appalachian Nights, currently still sold out. People buy it too much. They're buying it like crazy. Stand Your Grounds, Mr. Boca's Pumpkin Spice Experience are all very delicious as well. And also head over to timcast.com, click Join Us, become a member to support our work directly. And you are helping make this show possible because we are principally funded by members. So seriously, if you like the show, you like all the content we put out, and it's all just available to you free of charge, we do have the members only uncensored show and a massive library of uncensored content available on timcast.com. But click Join Us, become a member, and you'll also get access to our Discord server where you can check out a whole bunch of other hangouts and shows produced by members of timcast.com. And that's a 24/7 hangout, talk to like-minded people, argue with them, agree with them, whatever it is you want to do. Smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel. Share the show with your friends. Joining us tonight to talk about this and everything else is Abe Hamadeh.
Tim, thank you so much for having me. So a little bit about myself. I'm a former prosecutor at the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, also a former Army Reserve intelligence officer who served in the Middle East. I ran for Attorney General in 2022 in Arizona, with Kari Lake, and we saw what happened with that election. We had our election taken away from us by 280 votes out of 2.5 million, believe it or not. So we're still fighting the election lawsuit. But now I'm running for Congress in Arizona's 8th Congressional District. I'm endorsed by President Trump and Kari Lake. And, I quickly see our country going to hell. So we need some courage in there because, everything's on the line this November.
Those are some great endorsements.
Right? Well, they're powerful. And that's why, Kari Lake, President Trump, myself, we've been fighting for honest elections because we know what's going on with what's happening. I mean, it's so despicable.
Arizona, especially, that's like the state.
It's like third world country.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. But, I think people are waking up a lot faster than people realize. So it's always darkest before dawn. And that's what I'm looking forward to. But everything these next 6-7 months is everything's at stake.
Right on. Well, this should be fun. Thanks for hanging out. We got Hannah Claire hanging out.
Hey, I'm Hannah Claire Brimla. I'm a writer for scnr.com. I'm happy to be back tonight. Ian's here too.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm a huge proponent of voter integrity, so I'm glad you're here to talk about this. Maybe we'll go deep on it a little bit. Machine voting makes me very nervous. Electronic voting at all. We don't have the code and we can't see what the machines are doing. Drives me nuts. So, hey, good to see you, man.
You too.
Let's go deep. Serge, take me deeper.
I'm Serge.com. I'm going to be Serge.net soon. So Serge.com. Yeah, cheers.
Right on. Here's the big story from last night. It's one of the most shockingly offensive stories I've seen. But I'm not surprised. Gold Star father arrested for State of the Union heckling. Steve Nicoe, how do you pronounce that? Nicoe?
I've been saying Nicoe. I don't know if
Nicoe?
that's right.
51 arrested for heckling Biden during State of the Union. Yeah, but barely. He's a Gold Star dad who lost his son in the 2021 Kabul airport bombing. He was a guest of Florida Rep. Brian Mast, who was outraged by the arrest. So what do they have what he yelled?
Abbey-gate.
He yelled Abbey-gate and United States Marine. And it was not even the most disruptive thing yelled that night. You had people yelling liar at Joe Biden. Nothing. it almost feels like it was intentionally meant to offend the country. Members of Congress, who most people have utter disdain for, yell things all they want, nothing happens. A guy whose child died serving this nation simply says, Abby, United States Marine Corps, and he gets criminally charged. They really want us to hate them. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's terrible optics for the Biden administration. I'm trying to pull the name right now, but this father was there as a guest of another congressman.
Yeah, Brian Mast.
Right. So the fact that this wasn't a secret, Biden knew he was going to be there, and then continues to say, well, it was a great success when we pulled out Afghanistan. It went really well. Good. Like, this is the message that his administration has been telling all of these families, despite the fact that they know differently. They personally suffered the consequences of his ineptitude.
Serge tracked slurs last night. What was it? Was it 100 and what was the final number? 113?
Yeah, 113.
But that was a low estimate because there were some he was.
No, yeah, we were
slurring
being
that
nice. We were being nice. So here's how we counted it. And y'all were watching. You probably noticed it when we were counting. If Joe Biden said something like, we got to go buy the country and we got to get it, we'd be like, okay, there's one or maybe two, depending on how heavy it was. But it really had to be incomprehensible. He'd have to say something like, we've got to determine when the flag goes up, and like, okay, this is a slur. But there were several words where he slurred, but we're like, well, we know what he said. Mm-hmm. So it's our flag. We'd be like, okay, he said flag. We get in the context, so we wouldn't count that. Yeah. I think we easily could have counted 150.
Yeah, and it was multiple per minute. I mean, there wasn't a stretch of time that he was just stumble for. I mean, anyone who's public speaking for a long time is going to make some kind of error. I'm not trying to be harsh.
That's fine. I mean,
multiple per minute is kind of ridiculous.
Is 30 acceptable?
No.
Well, it also
maybe 6 is when it becomes unacceptable for a president. State of the Union.
Well, it highlights, the special counsel report that said he wasn't mentally fit, right? And how here he is giving the State of the Union, not really. I think Republicans have set the bar so low for Joe Biden, so anything of him just going and actually, having a complete sentence is actually a positive for him. And that's kind of what we make our mistakes on, because we've been bashing Joe Biden, but so many people, Americans, are not paying attention to every single slip that he's making. And that's what's, but the State of the Union yesterday was really, it was a campaign speech. I mean, the amount of times he was mentioning President Trump, the former president. But this is the radical left. They know that everything is on the line this November. So that's why they're going to go so aggressively using the government's power and the government institutions to go after their political enemies. And that's why they, his son died, and there's never been accountability for what happened in Afghanistan. And yet they go and charge him with a misdemeanor. But nothing with the Gaza protesters who actually, stood and
blocked the motorcade.
Blocked the motorcade. Nothing happened with that. But here, this father who yelled out Abigail, and you see the media how they say he's heckling him. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that was a heckle. I think that was just an emotional outburst from a father who wants accountability for what happened in Afghanistan.
I put calling out. He called him out because he said murders are down under my administration, and then he yelled United States Marine Corps, and I'm surprised they actually pulled him out of the room, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh wow, they're taking somebody out, because people were yelling to arrest him. The first thing Joe Biden should have done is after this was over, and be like, what was it? No, that's gonna it's gonna look bad for you. You know what I mean? So political strategy wise, he should have been like, no, that man is released tonight. Do not do that.
Right. I mean, it goes to show that he had all of these political talking point guests in the box, right? He was like, this lady's tried to get an abortion, this person's part of the union, but he doesn't have any of the family members of these Marines, right? And that's because this is one of the big flaws of his administration. This is one of their biggest failures that they have not been able to negotiate around. Mm-hmm. I mean, he really put service members in harm's way, and we're on the brink of, what did he say last night? We're going to put up a temporary port in Gaza. I mean, but no boots on the ground, just on the water. He is willing to sacrifice your children even and then lie about it, right? He's not willing to be honest about the dangers that he put service members into, and is willing to put them in again.
What did you guys think about the speech overall? Right now you got these Democrat pundits being like, he was strong. There was a video from Joe Scarborough from before the State of the Union that is getting roasted because he's like, this version of Joe Biden is the best version of Joe Biden. He is strong. He is bright. And it reminded me of the scene from Tenacious D with the open mic host. You guys remember? You ever see that movie? Where so in the movie, when Jack Black and Kyle Gass, when Tenacious D go to play for the first time, the open mic host is like, this next band asked me to read this. So, okay, whatever. This band, well, and it's like he's not into it. And then later on, when Jack Black is he's sleeping as a dream, open mic host goes, this next band asked me not to read this, but I'm going to read it anyway. This band is the best band ever. That's what it sounded like. Like, clearly Joe Biden is out of his mind, and Joe Scarborough is going on TV, looking at the camera to try and get dead in your eyes and go, Joe Biden is strong. Believe it. And, if you don't watch Joe Biden, you think he is.
Well, it's not just, Joe Scarborough. If you looked at every single media headline, it's really creepy. The regime's media apparatus is nuts. I mean, it's everything said fiery speech over and over and over.
And is that how you describe that speech, fiery? Is that your adjective for this?
It was something. I think there was a lot of gaslighting, if that's fiery. I mean, for him to suggest that the violence is down in our country and crime's down. I mean, all of it was complete lies, but I mean, will the American people actually understand that, or are they just going to be listening to the mainstream media? So it's going to be a challenge, and that's what we're facing right now, is that I don't think we've ever witnessed before a mainstream media regime basically propping up a president. I mean, Biden's not in control of this presidency. We all know that. But the media is carrying the water for him very aggressively.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting position that the media has boxed themselves into, because Joe Biden has been speaking publicly for decades. I mean, you pull video of him on the campaign trail with Obama.
Right.
I bet he would seem stronger, more with it, have more energy than he does now. So how could you say this is the Joe Biden we want when, even 8 years ago, 10 years ago, you have evidence that there is a difference between how he presents. I mean, he's not getting better with time.
No, he's not, as per biology, but he's getting exponentially worse and faster. That commercial we played just before the State of the Union, where it's like, can Joe Biden even survive till 2029? And I think, of course he can't. He's almost 10 years past standard life expectancy.
He can, but I mean, at what value? Like,
Well,
is he just going to be like, I'm alive?
A
I'm alive,
human
I'm alive.
being hypothetically can,
Yeah.
and we can extend Joe Biden's life through great leaps in medical technology, but will he be there?
Yeah, he might be alive, but is he really living?
Well, it's like the question of like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, right? There were people who said that she really should have stepped down way earlier than she did because Obama could have appointed someone, whatever else. And then she died in office. She did not seem like she was in great health towards the end. And yet someone, the powers that be, said, no. Either she herself decided she didn't want to go for the power, which maybe that's why Biden won't step down, or someone in the background was like, I need you to stay in office so I can continue to have whatever form of power I currently
And
control.
I'm pretty sure they artificially extended her life to the extent of modern science, because wasn't she like disappeared for a while?
Yes.
And everyone's like, what's going on with her? And they probably hooked her up to a bunch of machines where they were like, technically she's alive, so you cannot replace her yet.
Yeah.
And then finally the doctor's like, look, we've done everything we can. This lady is not going to be alive anymore.
This is one of my favorite conspiracy theories. People were like, because I mean, with the Supreme Court justices, their aides do write a lot of their opinions and do a lot of research and stuff like that. So hypothetically, like you had this staff that was like, she is fine. Thank you so much. We're just going to sign her name to this thing for a long time. And it was similar with Dianne Feinstein, who got sick. She had
She didn't even
shingles
know she was in
and
the
other things.
hospital.
No, it's crazy. And
funny.
she was absent for so long that Republicans on her committee were like, we would like to replace her.
Well, and it's not even an age issue. I mean, you had Secretary Lloyd Austin, in the hospital. Nobody knew who was running the Pentagon at the time. So we have some real problems where we don't know who's running the government. Well, we do. It's the deep state. It's the swamp. But it's this, mirage of these supposed elected officials or these appointed officials. And that's where I think the American people are really looking into this, and they're realizing like who is in actual control, because our borders open, our election's a mess, we're about to enter World War III. Do we have a competent commander in chief who can lead us there? It's not just the 13 service members who died in Afghanistan with that pullout, but remember the 3 Army Reserve soldiers who died in Jordan. There's so much happening, and Biden never recognized them appropriately in his State of the Union speech because he knows those will, hurt him in an election.
Yeah.
Yeah. Biden, I want to say he's the boss. That's the way I'll phrase it. He's the boss, but no one's in control. I don't think there's anyone telling Biden what to do, and I don't think there's anyone telling his staff what to do. And I think the failures in Afghanistan and the failures of administration are proof that there's no one pulling the strings. A lot of people like to think that Obama is still living in D.C. telling Biden what to do and Biden's a puppet president. I'm like, no. If that were true, there would be cohesive strategy. There would be things happening. It's chaos because Joe Biden is president. He doesn't remember things. He misspeaks, and the staff around him are all just looking at each other like, "What did he just say?" And they're not. There's no cohesive plan. So everything's just chaos. That's it.
Well, if you look at Obama's apparatus is still in the White House. I mean, you had Susan Rice, who was the head of Domestic Policy Council up until May of last year. You have Antony Blinken, all these remnants from the Obama administration. So I think there's no leadership with this administration, and they're just taking advantage of it. But Biden, it's not even an age issue. You see President Trump, he's in his late 70s, and man, he has a lot of energy, right? So, I wouldn't even classify this going after him because of his age. I know people who are in their 90s who are all with it, but Joe Biden clearly isn't.
Let's jump to this story. This is from the Post-Millennial. Pathetic. Laken Riley's mom blasts Biden for butchering name of daughter killed by illegal immigrant gang member in State of the Union address. Biden does not even know my child's name. Now, here's the important thing. Democrats are furious right now over this. They are furious over this. That Joe Biden would say illegal. No, I'm not kidding. Democrats are outraged that Joe Biden said killed by an illegal or killed by illegals.
Yeah. You saw Nancy Pelosi.
What did she say?
Oh, yeah. She said she wishes he didn't use that term.
I agree, though. I completely agree with Nancy Pelosi. I am offended, and I wish Joe Biden did not use that term.
Did you see the reporter that asked him?
I wish Joe Biden did not say illegal. He should have said criminal, alien, rapist, and murderer. Okay? Stop protecting criminal aliens by calling them illegals. I hate that term. Defining an immigrant as illegal makes no sense. I don't understand. It makes no sense. If someone is like shoplifting, we don't call them an illegal shopper. It doesn't make an illegal shopper came by today. No. What shoppers are fine. It's a shoplifter. Call him a border breaker at the very least. You know what I mean? But I think rapist and murderer is fitting, and you could put criminal alien in there. So I agree with Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, don't call them an illegal.
Yeah. The AP News ran this headline that was like, Biden says her name, and then there's like a hyphen in it, Laken Riley, at the request of Marjorie Taylor Greene, which I think is funny because they're trying to cover up the fact that he very clearly said Lincoln.
Yeah.
Which you had one job, right? You knew the entire
country.
country.
Had a pen with her name on it.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how we got here where you had one job. You had weeks, months to prep for this. This case happened, a couple weeks ago. It's fresh on everybody's mind. You knew you were probably going to have to reference this, and you could not get this person's name right.
Let's play it.
Laken Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal.
Oh,
did you see Benny
Joe.
Johnson posted the guy asking Biden, the reporter, do you regret using the word illegal to describe immigrants? And Biden's like, I don't regret. I technically not supposed to be here. I think I did justice to how he said
That's
it, too.
exactly. He's going to filibuster his way out of this by verbal slurs.
He wouldn't say he didn't regret it, and he didn't say he regrets it, but he did reinforce that they're not supposed to be here, technically. I don't know why he said technically.
Well, what's he going to do about it? He's the one who gave them parole. The border, the 10 million people who have come across, more like 15 million in the last 3 years. I mean, this is all on Joe Biden. And I think this is what concerns me, the State of the Union address, where so many Americans just watch that and they're not keeping up with everything. And they say, oh, maybe the Republicans are unreasonable. That's maybe the takeaway that they're going to come out of that, which is scary. So that's why Republicans have to keep dominating this message. And President Trump's been doing a very good job at it because, it's no longer, it's not just the border states. I'm from Arizona and we see it all, directly, but the burglaries that are happening with a lot of the affluent homes, but now you're seeing murders and rape of an innocent girl who's just going to nursing school
on college campuses, right?
That's crazy. On her college campus, she went for a jog, and the presumption is this guy, Jose Ibarra, was trying to rape her, but when she fought back, he bashed her face in to the point where he smashed her skull. And I'm hearing, I've been hearing this on Twitter that she was still alive when they found her.
Oh, wow.
She was unconscious, but
Yeah.
she was declared dead at the scene.
Wow.
Okay.
There's also a charge he's charged with preventing someone from making a 911 call. So there's an idea that perhaps he was chasing her or whatever. She tried to call the police and he took her cell phone or something. So it's a really awful story. And I remember the day that this came up, that UGA had a suicide on campus a couple days before. So it was a weird headline initially, like there's a second student found dead. What's going on there? And then within 24 hours, the person had been identified, and it's, obviously he hasn't been tried or anything, but it's believed to be this illegal immigrant who's in the country who crossed the border in 2022 under the Biden administration. Like, he was known to this government to be in this country illegally. He was also arrested in New York, and then he was arrested obviously after allegedly murdering Laken Riley in Georgia. So it's something where along the way, several different forms of law enforcement failed, right? And Joe Biden doesn't even know her name. That's crazy to me.
And he looks at the pin, Lincoln Riley. Wow, there's leadership for you. He cares so much.
He really cares. He cares about women, especially here on International Women's History, or it's Women's History Month or whatever. Like, it's so heartless. And again, this is
International Women's Day.
It's International
Communist holiday.
That was like last week, I think. But the thing is, it's so the Biden administration to be like, we're the party that cares about you, and this other party, they hate you and they hate the future. Now, we don't want to talk about the service members that we put. It's today.
Yeah, it's the communist holiday.
Well,
yeah, it was Russian revolutionary communists who started it.
And none of the men in the room wish me a happy Women's Day.
Yeah.
So I'm offended.
You'll never get me there. Never.
And you're the most feminist one in this room, I think. I don't want to speak for you.
I'm old school feminist, though, like second wave, when it was just about equal opportunity.
Ugh, it's all horrible.
That's where it begins and ends.
No, but this is the Biden administration, right? They're like, we really, really care about women. We care about our young people. Please join our military. Also, if you die because of us, we will never talk about you again.
I'm anti all wave feminists. All of them.
Anti?
Yeah, I oppose all of it.
But that means that you buy it.
What?
If you found that you're anti it, that means you accept it.
What is it? What does that mean?
In order to oppose something, you have to accept its premise.
No, you don't. What?
Yeah. Otherwise, it wouldn't bother you at all. Wouldn't even be any of it.
Opposing a thing that exists that has resulted in women getting civic privileges without civic responsibility is sure, like, it exists. What does that mean?
Concepts?
I acknowledge that the thing is a thing.
I think if you become anti a concept, you're actually empowering the concept. You're
Because
better
you're
to focus on
acknowledging that exists.
Yeah, you're better to focus on things that you like that are different than that thing you want to not be.
There's like Ian sitting in a room and he's on fire, and he's like, as long as I don't say I'm on fire, I'll be fine.
The fire can't wait if I
I'm
don't
talking about
acknowledge
concepts like feminism, the ideas.
Right. So
and
what
things.
happened with feminism was the initial argument at the turn of the century was civic responsibility in exchange for equal civic access. And the women said no. And then a bunch of weak men said, how about we give women all of the privileges and other responsibilities? And they went, you got it. I oppose that. I think women should have the right to vote. I think women should work. But along with civic privileges and access comes civic responsibility, meaning so long as men have to enlist for the draft, if women should have the choice. You want access to the vote, you want jobs, you want all that stuff, you got to do the exact same thing as everybody else. Otherwise, that's why I'm like, you know what, fine, screw it. Bring on the Equal Rights Amendment. Let's make it enshrined in the Constitution that there cannot be legal distinction between males and females. And then every single woman, this is why they don't pass the ERA, by the way, because it would mean that women have to sign up for the draft and they don't want to do it. For sure. I don't want to be drafted at all. I also don't like the ERA because, and this is a Phyllis Schlafly argument that I covered last year when I was writing profiles for Women's History Month. As she pointed out, it doesn't make men and women equal. It abolishes the concept of the differences between the gender. And I don't want to live in a genderless world. I think genders are different. We see this from the minute babies are born. They show preferences for different things from less than 24 hours old. So why would we pretend otherwise? Genders are good. They can be complementary, but they definitely exist. Happy International Women's Day to you. Yeah. So I don't see what would your argument for feminism be, Ian? You think that it's okay for one class of people to be given privileges with no responsibility, or would you agree with me that women should bear equal responsibility to their nation in exchange for equal access and privileges?
Well, equal rights doesn't mean you have to do the same thing as the other person. So, like, the right to vote doesn't mean that we all have to go fight in war. I don't think. But civic responsibility, yeah, like the women during the World War II.
We can agree there. So then, should men no longer have to enlist in the selective service? Sign up for it?
No,
they should.
I don't like drafts, but no, I don't think that they should stop.
You would agree then that there is a problem with feminism thus far, and the remedy would either be women must sign up for the draft, or men must have no responsibility, no longer have to sign up for the draft.
No, I don't think military draft is a delineation for that. For men and women in feminism. Like, I don't think women should have to get drafted into the military.
What's the equivalent to getting drafted to the military?
The equivalent?
Like you were saying,
getting
they don't
pregnant,
have to do the exact same thing.
Getting impregnated and going through 9 months of hell with that carrying that thing around.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
a really weird way to describe what many
Talk
women
about
call
going
as,
through
like,
near
heavenly
death,
and beauty.
the amount of pain that you suffer giving birth. I would imagine that that's about as traumatic for the female. But also, it's also awesome.
So you're
apparently.
arguing that every woman at 18 should be force impregnated by the government?
No, I did not argue that.
Okay, well then,
So, like-
then what's your point?
Women only get their right to vote when they have a baby, which I think is an interesting
Hey, all right,
take.
let's go, Ian.
Ian is like bumping up the birth rate over here. I love it.
No.
You either have to join the military or get pregnant, and men can't get pregnant. So that's
You
only
mean like
on
what's a
women.
good version of compulsory service that a woman could
Like
could
you were saying,
experience
they don't
other
have to
than
do the same
military?
thing to get the right to vote. They should all have a responsibility to their country. And I'm just wondering, like, what the equivalent to entering the draft would be for women. And if you're saying you have a baby, I mean,
Could,
maybe we
Why,
should talk about this.
why do you think it's acceptable that in our country, the government would say we grant extra privileges to one class of people based on their biological sex? Like that seems antithetical to what the actual argument of feminism is. So if the reason why I say I oppose all of the waves of feminism is because in terms of a philosophy, on the surface, the Motte and Bailey would be, oh, we just want equality for women. And then I respond with, okay, so women should be drafted. No. And then women recoil instantly and say no to that. Because feminism in practice is not equality. It's privileges. Of course, only an insane person would argue for a true equality. Everyone's going to argue for privileges all the time. Why would you say you are in favor of the government creating special classes of people who get extra benefits without responsibility?
Well, I don't think that they should have ever not had the right to vote. Maybe, I don't know if ever is the right word, but that they didn't have the right to vote in 1840 is insane.
So the issue
Like
going
they're
back,
humans.
we go back in time. The issue with voting actually is really simple. Do you live here? Yes or no? You don't? Okay, well then you can't vote on what we're doing. When the towns are very small, it's like 100 people. You're voting on like, should we all come together and put a new road here? Do you live here? You do? Okay, what do you think? You don't live here? Well then you have why are you telling us what we should do with our road? And so then it comes to the point of, should women vote? Well, it's like, well, the women aren't the ones who are building the roads and going and fighting to defend them. So it's just the guys are going to decide whether or not they want a road where they're going to be working. And then we come to this change with the Industrial Revolution, and we're like, women don't. We're no longer in an era where people are all landowners. Some people are renters now. Some people live with someone else, and they should have a say in their community because they do live there and they've lived there for their whole lives. And not every woman is with a man, and some women are working. So we recognize, okay, women should be allowed to vote. I completely agree. Women should be allowed to work. Completely agree. And with that comes the same responsibilities of any other human being in civilization. Fire brigade, law enforcement, military, compulsory military service. But instead of actually, and that was the argument initially. The initial argument with suffrage was, sure, women can have the right to vote and they'll get drafted. And then the anti-suffragettes were like, we don't want to be in the fire brigade and we do not want to go fight in wars. So we will happily sit back. And then a bunch of weak men were like, hey, if we tell the women we'll give them the right to vote, they'll vote for us. And there you go. Now you have women in this country don't have to be drafted, but get all of the privileges with being a full-fledged member. I think that's wrong. I think that's anti-feminist. I think that's opposing the general ideology of equality.
So you prefer to draft women, and
Women can work in many different ways in the military. I'm not even saying combat.
pregnant women?
Of course they can.
What about women with small children at home?
Yes, they can.
You would draft them?
100%.
What would the kids do? Where do the kids go?
So you know that there are people in the military right now who have kids
Where do the kids go?
and daycare.
So you'd send families, children to daycare. Who'd pay for the daycare?
The government, the
So
military.
You're going to expand government pay services
So-
to draft women into service and send their kids off to daycare?
When the draft is called upon because of a legitimate threat to this country, because my ideology is not predicated upon corrupt people sending people to foreign wars for profit. That's BS.
No,
I'm
that's what
talking
they did in
about
Vietnam.
Sure, and we're talking about turn of the century. We're talking about World War I, World War II, which you can arguably say we should not have been involved in. But if you were to conscript women, it could be like, we need you to work in a factory producing materials and refining.
While your kids go off to daycare?
Welcome to war, my friend. When
Yeah,
bombs
the
are
whole
being
point is
dropped
to
on
protect
your
those-
houses, then by all means, I am not going to sit here and listen to someone tell me that I have to die for them and they do not have
Welcome
the same
to being a man,
responsibility.
dude. You protect your women and children. That's how it is.
And guess what? The people who don't go to war don't tell me what to do. How about this? How many members of Congress have proposed a bill that if you want to fund a war, you have to go fight in it?
I love that idea personally.
Absolutely. So why am I going to say you don't have to go fight in the war, but you can certainly tell me how I have to fight and when I have to die?
You're just saying how pro-draft you are. But now you're saying you're anti-draft.
No. I'm saying, why would someone who is not in the military get the right to tell me to die for them? By force, by compulsion of the U.S. of the U.S. law enforcement coming and threatening to take away my freedom. And there's a whole class of people, half the country, more than half, who get to vote to send me to die. And they have no responsibility. Now, of course, the responsibility was they're going to have families and raise kids, but that's not what's happening. So there is an imbalance in equality. Anyway, we can move on to a different subject.
Are you going to draft women? Do you want to talk about this?
Well, I think we can, if you look at what's happening right now, women are under attack, but ironically, it's by the liberal Marxists who are transforming, if women try to compete in sports, they have to compete with men. It's very bizarre, this idea that women and men have the same biology so that they can compete in the same sports. But I'm really, if you see what's going on, I just saw Riley Gaines' interview too. I mean, it's so tragic that the feminist movement that you're talking about, how it's been transformed, and I think it's actually going against women. And,
no, it is. It's erasing feminism.
Right. And so what's purpose is it serving right now? So, I feel as if women right now are being under attack by these liberal Marxists who are trying to basically make everybody equal. And now they're actually propping up this other class of transgenders who are now competing in sports. So, I've never talked more about transgenders ever in my life except the last 3 years. And I think that's purposeful. The Marxists are trying to win this war on our minds right now, where they're trying to erase the gender, what gender actually is.
Let's talk about the alternative. The alternative to Joe Biden that we have coming up in November. And I give you this. Yashir Ali says, Trump just posted this video on his official Instagram. My friends, you have to watch this video.
We're going to buy American. We're going to buy American. So trade rules. Buy America has been the law since 1933. Also caps and won't even go into effect until 2025. And by the way, that law was written and the benefit expires in 2025. New electric grids that are able to weather major storms and not prevent
the Chihuahua. So for those that are just listening, you have no idea what's going on, but Trump posted this video to his Instagram of Snapchat filters. It is an old State of the Union. I think it's from last year. Mm-hmm. You can see Kevin McCarthy sitting there, but it's absolutely hilarious. And Trump posted this on his Instagram, and there's like one clip where Joe Biden's head is a Chihuahua, I guess. Is that what that is? I think so. Aged Chihuahua?
Chihuahua-esque figure. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know if that's a Chihuahua. I think it is. But this is your alternative, and I am for it, and will be supporting this man throughout the year for his re-election.
And I think he's actually reaching a different audience, right? It's, so many political consultants would say, you can't do that type of stuff. But he's actually going after the younger voters who can relate to this and making politics. Politics has become cultural right now. And President Trump understands that. He's doing a really effective job at reaching that audience. So, I think it's hilarious. And I think a lot of Americans do too.
What is this face? Like what?
I love it.
Kamala's face.
Do we know where this video came from? Like, did somebody else share it?
Someone else must have made
it.
The
narrative that I have invented for myself based on nothing is that Barron is the one who did this and then sent it to his dad. Because that would be so fun.
I was thinking that it felt like Don just is like, Grandpa figured out Snapchat filters. Here we go. And he's like doing 5 in a row. And you're like, all right, I get it.
But it's an old video.
Yeah.
It's from last year.
And it could have been someone else's video.
They looked it up on YouTube and they're just like, look, this is so funny.
Do you guys think that the cultural, like you were just saying, that politics has become cultural, that it's either that's an emergent thing, it's just part of the flow of nature because of internet, or is it specifically being done on purpose?
I'm not sure, but I actually think it's positive in some ways. I mean, so many people are engaging in politics, whether they're on the left or on the right. You're seeing people like AOC who kind of, rose from that type of, populist on the left side of things, and you're seeing that the same on the right. So I see it as good because there needs to be strong debate as long as you're actually allowed to debate. And that's what's scary that we're facing, is that these people are attacking free speech and the so-called defenders of democracy are destroying our elections. So culture and politics, I think it's only going to intertwine even more so. You're starting to see celebrities run for politics like never before, and athletes as well. So it's just become a part of daily life. You can't escape it. I mean, everybody talks about President Trump or President Biden, no matter where you go, whether you're even paying somewhat attention to politics. It's unescapable, unlike how it used to be just 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think the vision, the ideal for the founders is that it's like part of not everyone's daily life, but that maybe that eventually it will come to the point where like it's just a natural part of your life. Like you make lunch, you involve yourself with your local politics, you make dinner, you spend time with your family, you keep an eye on what's going on, like state politically.
Right.
I think that used to be the case when we were more civically minded as a nation, right? Like right now it feels like it's all about capital P politics that happen on the federal level, that happen because it's an election year. But when people were more involved with just like local groups, they volunteered more outside the homes, they were more involved in their religious communities, right? Like they had an impact on their community that wasn't necessarily affiliated with a political party, although it had effectively a political influence on their community, right? They had values, they wanted to see them carried out. They maybe went to town meetings to ask for certain things, or they organized together to accomplish certain tasks. But we just drifted away from that as an American culture. And there are a couple of different reasons for that, but predominantly one of the reasons is because we're deeply online now. We're not actually spending time, going to school board meetings. We are, much more likely to be reading about, again, national level politics as opposed to what's going on in our communities.
But you lose that human connection, right? But I think you're exactly right. When you talk about church attendance is, record lows, and that's where people could have an impact on their community, but now they're seeing the impact is online and voicing their opinion on social media. So
I mean, this is one of the things I don't want to necessarily delve back into the same argument we had before, but when you were talking about like women having different civic responsibilities than men, when more women were at home, they were largely responsible for essentially the volunteer and philanthropic efforts of their communities. I think it's Indiana University has a whole study. I think it's their College of Philanthropy. I can't remember what it's called now, but they've done a couple studies on this where women are typically the one who make the decisions about like how families spend their money charitably, like where they give money to. And again, it's reflective of this part of culture that we sort of lost when we sent women into the workforce, right? Like no one person can really accomplish all the things you need to run a household. We know, any working adult knows this, like there's just always something you have to take care of. And that was one of the reasons why a married family unit with a man and a woman who have different interests, but also different responsibilities works so well. You can have a bigger impact on your community because it doesn't just fall on the shoulders of the individual. You work as a team. And to a certain extent, when we gave up the normality of having women stay at home, we sort of lost that aspect of culture.
Yes.
Thank you so much for agreeing with me on today of all days, International Women's Day.
That's right. And only because it's International Women's Day.
Yeah, Tim doesn't agree with me any other time. Well, I'll keep filibustering here until the show's over. No, just kidding. I really think that like this is the most interesting part of culture, which is that the family unit determines so much about who you become as an individual and what happens to your community. And so when we don't have, like, I'm not even kidding. When you're like, yeah, women should get the right to vote when they have a baby, I'm like, that doesn't sound half bad. I mean, sort of complicated. What if you're infertile?
That's one of the that's a 20 right there from Ian.
And I didn't even roll it. That's the best part.
Well, like,
it was a passive 20.
Last night when Biden was saying, we're going to encourage kids or we're going to roll out additional preschool vouchers, essentially. Like we're going to subsidize preschool even further. And we really want to make sure kids can read by the 3rd grade. And Tim and I looked at each other like, 3rd grade? That's late. Like what are we doing here?
Yeah, kids should be reading, I think it's like 1st grade. Is it average?
Yeah.
But don't you learn how to read in kindergarten and before that? I don't know.
I think it's changed since COVID. I mean, the education system is totally
look,
collapsed.
I was homeschooled before I started grade school, so I'm pretty sure I could read well before I started.
But he
in
said,
kindergarten, we had the letter people. Did you guys ever watch that show? Every day, every week, we would have a different letter person would come in. We'd learn the letters. That was in kindergarten.
Well, Biden, when he was talking about it, bring it back.
They bring these like blow up dolls of like these letters. The letter J, and it's the Mr. J for J is for jam. We should look up the letter people. It's a great show. Old school.
No, but one of the things Biden said during his speech was studies show, and I've seen the study before, that kids who are read to at home enter kindergarten speaking, 1 million more saying a million more letters than what is happening.
This is it?
Yeah, this is what we got to show on Saturday
this?
morning
A
cartoon.
I don't think so.
Right, a jar. And I just happen to have a nice one right
Probably.
here.
Isn't this just
Jumbled
Sesame Street,
junk,
dude?
jar.
It sounds like Mr. J.
Jumbled junk, jar.
I see a bunch of J words.
Jar starts with the same sound that starts jumbled junk. Oh, that sound makes me want to jump for joy.
It's a jolly sound, all right.
This is why Ian's so messed up, isn't it?
By messed up, if you mean.
Those all his letters. I mean, what have you
brilliant.
accomplished?
Yeah, man. We wouldn't really watch these shows as much as she would bring out like the J, and it was like a guy, and she would set him down, and then we'd learn all about the letter J for the day, and it was pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah, and
so
it
I
was-
must not have known how to read before that if I was learning the letters at the
I
What
remember,
grade
like-
was that?
kindergarten.
We had every letter capital and lowercase on the top of the room. And yeah, I don't know.
That's helpful. In order, and you just stare at
Yeah.
them all in order.
And cursive.
I think actually we had Denelian. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
I don't even know what that is, but I learned it.
I don't know
What
that
is it?
It was a way to write letters.
Yeah, it was like a mix between cursive and straight typing. I learned it in California high school as well, or California like high school, in kindergarten there as well. So I don't know.
What?
Yeah,
Denelian.
it's a real thing.
Yeah. Denelian. There you go. It's Denelian. That's what we learned.
Oh.
Based on Latin, which was developed
Yeah.
by
Teaching
Donald
kids fonts. How
N.
fun.
Thurber.
I don't even know. I don't understand. Like, aren't these just like the same thing?
I'm not really sure, but
Yeah, we did this.
Oh, I know those Denelian letters.
I guess it's how you learn cursive.
it's a precursor to cursive.
Yeah, it's a Denelian cursive writing. Is that what it is? I don't know.
Well, that's fun.
It's just printing at an angle almost.
Do kids learn cursive today?
No.
Really?
My younger sisters are younger than me, and I know that they're not learning cursive in school.
Do they learn how to write?
They can write, but it is interesting how many kids are online all the time, or like, post when school started going back after the pandemic. A lot of them came home with like iPads or whatever, and it was like there are no more snow days because either we're planning to be out because of a COVID lockdown, or if we get snow, and either way, you just do work on your tablet, which really
So-
feels like it's ruining a part of culture.
I will say this. What stats are 1 through 20, right?
Yeah.
My writing is a 2.
A D&D stats?
Is it
3
two?
3 through 18, really.
So like I can type real fast and real well. And it was really funny because I've never been good at writing. Like I can write, but it looks like the SpongeBob meme
Oh, yeah.
where like capitals and lowercase, and I don't even realize I'm doing it. I don't know why, because I just doesn't matter to me. Capital, lowercase, whatever. So I wonder what that is.
you could get like a handwriting expert to give you like a psychological breakdown based on your handwriting. Be like, well, you must feel this way about this aspect of your life if your B's are written like that.
I just put random capital letters and lowercase.
That's awesome. Because it must mean something. Like
guess.
some sort of emphasis or something.
When I type just fine.
I saw some video of a teacher saying she had to practice writing differently when she was writing on the whiteboard for her like elementary school students, because on her own she makes all of the letters the same size whether they're capital or lowercase, but you have to distinguish them for young students who are learning the difference.
That's this right here. So this, like what we did, see the dotted line in the middle? Mm-hmm. That's how you did. The lowercase letters are underneath it and the uppercase go over it.
Yep.
So they're not teaching this in school anymore?
I don't know.
I don't know that they ever actually taught Denelian in like
No, not
it
for
was,
me.
Yeah, not common at all.
I hated cursive. They made us write cursive, and then we would do it 3rd, 4th grade, and they're like, you have to write this stuff in cursive. So one day I just printed it instead, and they didn't say anything. They didn't give me an F. They didn't. And then they took it. They read it. So I was like, wow. They tell me you have to write in cursive, but I guess you don't.
Yeah, but those girls who stuck with cursive are now making bank, like addressing envelopes for weddings and stuff like that. They've
Yeah.
got beautiful handwriting. They have a whole
yeah,
Etsy
but
business.
like how do kids? What are kids are writing, but they're not doing cursive? How are they going to get signatures? Are they just going to scribble?
I don't even think they're writing that much anymore. I think
Yeah.
it's really gone to iPads and computers. So you're probably going to see the penmanship go way down. And I'm like you. My handwriting I'm a lawyer. It was awful. I could never even read my own handwriting. So I'll worry about this next.
But this is the thing. Look, we are. How old are you, Abe?
32.
32. And that would make Ian the oldest. I'd be second oldest. And then who's older between the two of you? Serge is older.
Yeah.
So all of us, even, Hannah Claire, you know this because you have younger siblings. Is that what you're saying? But I didn't even realize kids aren't learning to write the same way. Imagine what happens. So we write all this sci-fi dystopian stuff, and we're like, oh, the AI, people are going to plug in, and they're going to be carrots, and they're going to do weird things. It's worse than that. There's going to be an EMP, and all of like Gen Z and under. Gen Z will be the last writing generation. So you're going to have a bunch of 17-year-olds being like, how do I share my thoughts? It's like, write it down. Here's a pen and paper. I'm like, and they can't do it. Think about it. And then it's like the world's going to end. There's going to be an EMP. Gen Z will be in their 50s, and they'll be like the lost art form of writing with a pen. No one does it.
Or the one that gets me is memorizing phone numbers. Like I remember memorizing people's phone numbers because I didn't have a phone, and also like if you're wherever, you need your friend's phone numbers, your parents' phone numbers, whatever. Like lots of kids get cell phones so early that and you think adults too. Like I don't know that I couldn't tell you anyone in this room's phone number. I don't think I tell you my best friend's phone number because
but I can
their name is in my phone.
But I can tell you my home phone number from when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
I can tell you my best friend's phone numbers from when I was a kid. I can remember probably a decent amount of them, actually.
Yeah.
Back before
man, I
area
can remember-
codes. Did you guys have area codes the whole time?
But we had 312 for a while, and then they introduced 773 when I was real
the whole
little.
time?
We didn't have area codes. We just had 7-digit phone numbers.
Well,
No, you
until
Within that same area
1992.
code,
No,
you
no,
have
no.
a number.
You
the
did.
area code was given. It was
Exactly.
only 330. Or it was,
So
Yeah.
right. So Ian, what this means is when you are in an area code, you don't need to add the area
Right.
code.
correct. It was
So
before
in
long
Chicago-
distance, before digital phones and all that.
No. So
No.
before in the 90s, in the early 90s, I believe Chicago had just 312, and then they introduced a second one, 773, and then all of a sudden now we had to know if we were 312 or 773. The suburbs were 708. And the western suburbs, I think, northwest suburbs. Actually, I think a lot. I don't. It's 847, but I think that might go down to a little southwest as well.
Did you have to dial them in, or was it just
Yeah.
given in your? We didn't dial
if-
area codes in the beginning.
Yes, you did.
No, we didn't at our house. We would just dial 923.
That means you were in the area code,
1747.
Ian.
Yeah, or
So
you'd have
if
to
you
dial
were-
long distance to get out of
If
the area.
your phone number is 773-1234567, and you're calling someone else in 773, you don't need to put an area code.
Correct.
When they add an area code, splitting you into two different places, you now need the area code for the other
But
region.
now in that same area, if I call the next door neighbor, I have to dial their area code to get to their house because that's just the way phones are now. You have 10 digits instead of 7.
I don't think that's
you
correct.
don't. If they have
Yeah.
the same area code as you don't have to dial.
Right.
Are you? I've never tried it with my phone. I've got on my cell phone, I've got a 3. I'll tell you my area code, 323. It's an LA area code. Are you saying that if I call other people in LA with 323 area codes, I just only need to enter 7
Yes.
numbers?
Correct, yeah.
Really? I've never tried that.
That's how it's always been. And I'm pretty sure that's true because there are still parts of this country that do not include the area codes on their stores.
And like area codes are weird now because I got this 323 number while I was living in like New York. I just got an LA area code because I like
because you can choose whatever one you want.
Yeah.
And there are people who intentionally get area codes to seem important.
Yeah.
So they'll go and they'll be like, I want a Beverly Hills, California, and they'll say, okay, what are LA's?
We got 818. That's like Long
Yeah.
Beach.
Right.
323.
323.
213.
213.
Yep.
Is there a 7?
How do you guys know this? I don't even
Well, I
know
lived
any
in
phone
LA.
number.
I live in LA.
decade of life.
I'll say this. I'm not gonna give up my area code because I don't want people to find out. But it's a rural middle of nowhere area code on purpose.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I got mine as kind of a vanity area code. I was like, I want to have some LA in me for the rest of my life.
When I was getting
323
my
would
phone,
bust.
they were like, they wanted the area code here, and I was like, no. And then I was like, I pulled up maps and I looked, and I was like, ooh, middle of nowhere.
And so anyway, what you were saying, I used to memorize phone numbers too.
Yeah.
Memorization. So what's going to happen with neural net? Are people going to, when they read now on the internet, like we still open up a computer screen, we read words. We have to learn the words and the letters and read. But are you just going to get the information and you're not actually going to have to read it? You're just going to learn what the meaning
But
is?
doesn't that take something out of it if you just gets put in your head versus having to critically analyze it and memorize it and like?
Yeah, we're becoming the board.
Totally
it takes
different
language out of it, it's a new form of language. If there's no letters, then there would be no reading, and then the people literally would not have to learn how to read in order to receive data. And then if the power goes out, we got a bunch of illiterate hominids.
Well, it's like Idiocracy. Have you guys seen that movie?
Yeah.
It's basically a documentary that we're witnessing.
No, I think Idiocracy got it way wrong.
Why is that?
Because
Not everyone wears Crocs now.
Yeah,
Crocs are
because
cool.
what's happening right now is that liberals are aborting their kids and sterilizing their kids. And so if you were, so in the premise of the film is the stupidest people tend to reproduce the most and the smart people don't, but that ignores political ideologies. And so even at the time when Mike Judge made Idiocracy, you could have calculated that either Islam or Christianity would dominate within 500 years. because it is part of their fundamental religious beliefs to have children and to proselytize. So I think idiocracy doesn't work as it makes sense to liberals because they live a bubble. And so when I was younger, I was like, haha, wow, that's really funny. Now that I'm older and I'm watching what's going on, I'm like, oh, liberals are self-destructive. Conservatives have more kids. And this data was out in studies in the 2000s. So you easily could have made a movie where it's called like Christiocracy, and it's a guy who's in the military who gets frozen. When he comes back out, the country is the 1950s all over again. And it's like there was a period of tumult where a bunch of weirdo liberal lunatics were doing crazy things, but they all sterilized themselves and had wild sex parties. And then after 20 years, they were gone. That's it.
It's possible.
That's my prediction for the next 500 years.
I'd love to see that movie.
Let's jump to this next story, actually, because this brings together from the post-millennial. Biden calls to ban AI voice impersonations in State of the Union after getting humiliated by POSO pre-creation memes. Is that what did it, Jack?
Funny.
Yeah.
Did Jack write that story?
Yeah. So here's. I'll play this one. This is a fake video.
The illegal Russian offensive has been swift, callous, and brutal. It's barbaric. Putin's illegal occupation of Kyiv and the impending Chinese blockade of Taiwan has created a two-front national security crisis that requires more troops than the volunteer military can supply. I have received guidance from General Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, that the recommended way forward will be to invoke the Selective Service Act, as is my authority as president.
So that is something made by Jack, is clearly not real. But I do think it's funny that we ended up during the State of the Union, Biden saying a call to ban AI voice impersonations, because it came out of nowhere, but you can't do anything about it. I suppose you can make it illegal. The problem is, how do you differentiate intent? I mean, we've done this on the show several times with AI voice impersonation, but you can blend voices. You can take a recording of Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan and then put them next to each other and load them into an AI app, and it will create a combination of the two voices into one. So what happens if like you make a voice that's 98% Joe Rogan and you say it's an artistic voice for my media project? Is it when you claim the person is who if you say this voice is Ian Crossland, that makes it illegal?
Maybe that's a good way to go. Impersonation, if it becomes a form of impersonation. But like you said, someone called somebody and it sounded like it was their daughter and asked for like help or something, and the woman acquiesced. I don't know the story.
Yeah, that was in Arizona. A mom, she got a call from what she thought was her daughter, and that she was being held, and so they wanted ransom. And that's I think there's been a lot of calls now because of the AI voice manipulations, where it has the potential to do a lot of damage to some folks, especially people who don't know all the technology and they hear their daughter speaking. I mean, why would you second guess that? Right. So, I mean, AI is really, it's getting scary because you saw that. I mean, this could almost start wars, right? I mean, if you're declaring war on a country, how would they know? It reminds me back in the 80s. I don't know if you remember Ronald Reagan at the time. There was like a blooper almost. It was broadcast and it shouldn't have been, where he was calling to bomb the Russians, and it almost caused a nuclear war because of that. So, I mean, AI is very, very scary. So I don't know what type of federal limitations or government limitations are going to be.
It's me, Tucker Carlson.
But clearly,
I'm just calling to let you know you're based
some
AF.
situations like that from happening where a daughter is someone's pretending to be their daughter.
You didn't have your headphones on while Tucker Carlson was just complimenting me while you were in the middle of explaining.
Hey, Ian, it's me, Tucker Carlson. I'm just calling to let you know you're based AF.
Dude, if I heard that voicemail, I would be like, that's probably Tucker.
That is not Tucker Carlson. That is just an online app. It's so easy to do. I can type. It's nuts. I can type in anything. I got Jordan Peterson.
The Jordan one's really good too. The Joe Rogan one's pretty good. It's okay. The Biden one's not good because you can't capture his dementia. Is it officially dementia? Is it okay to say that out loud?
I mean, his doctor says he's fine. So
right.
You're wrong. It's not dementia. The White House doctor says so.
He was
would never lie to you.
He didn't even need to be tested. He was so healthy.
He was so healthy.
Okay, so confirmed healthy.
Hey, Ian, it's me, Jordan Peterson. I'm just calling to let you know you need to eat beef. Eat like a lot of beef.
Okay. Okay, Jordan.
Would that convince you?
Famed nutritionist.
What if you say, Dr. Peterson, I guess I'll start eating beef.
I'm on board.
I can literally type in anything into this app right now and instantly have anyone. It's nuts.
So what do you think? Should there be limitations on it?
But how? What do you do?
Right. It's
out. What do you do?
I think keeping impersonation illegal.
Free speech. Jack Posobiec made a piece of artwork. He is allowed to do that. He was, and what he did, it says it's a what did he call it? A predictive sneak preview. And he's making a point about, it's a point about what the Biden administration is capable of doing and the direction that we're heading should the warmongers in the United States drive us towards war. And so to make a video like that, to make that point, I think maybe it's a responsibility to say like, hey guys, this is a fake video. I'm doing this to make a point.
Yeah, because it's like you can use a car and drive it off the road and destroy a bunch of property, and that's illegal.
You can't.
That's an illegal way to use a car, or you can just use a car normal. Same with AI. Same with voice. With this kind of stuff,
you can't ban it. You can't ban it. It's not possible. It's not.
You
legally
can't
possible.
stop it. You can ban it,
No,
but you can't stop this tech.
You can't ban it
because what's going to happen if they ban it and they say it's illegal? Then every time someone hears a voice, they're not going to guess. They're not going to question is this real or not. They're just going to assume it's real.
You can't even ban it so long as any human being can do an impersonation.
Right.
You cannot ban AI.
I'm curious, because you're campaigning right now, is this something you guys have to talk about and like mitigate risk for, that someone will potentially copy a voice or use AI technology to warp something that you're, an ad that you're giving to your constituents or something like that?
I think it's very possible, but I think what Tim was saying that, it's even without AI, there's always been impersonators, and there's been really effective impersonators of Donald Trump. So I don't see it being stopped. So I don't know why Biden talked about the State of the Union, although I do see it as a problem. How do we try to remedy that problem? But as a candidate, I'm going to guess that there's going to be, especially how the rate of technology changing so quickly, there's going to be a lot of deep fakes. I think I just saw, was it in California? I don't know if you saw this, but there's these students who were just suspended because they put other students' faces on AI generated images showing them naked.
Whoa.
Yeah, so they suspended these kids, by saying, oh, they're sending, naked selfies or whatever. They weren't. They were just AI generated. So, there is a lot of problems with this, especially when it goes to the pedophilia level as well.
But like that's the obvious, direction. But imagine what's going to happen with read-write Neuralink technology. But let's not even go there. How about this? You will be in a class on a campus, and someone's going to take your picture off Facebook. They're going to load 4 or 5 of your pictures from Instagram into an app. They're going to put on VR headsets, and they're going to have virtual sex with you.
Gross.
It's like we're talking about porn and how they can take any woman. Luckily, it'll be women. Guys are going to be doing this to women. Women will do it to guys too, but mostly guys. And it's the VR stuff too. They will make virtual environments. Not only that, with GPT, ladies, here's what's going to happen. There will be a guy on your campus, and he's going to buy the Apple Vision Pro. We got it sitting right there. Maybe not Apple Vision because it's going to be really restrictive. Oculus is probably more likely. And they're going to upload an app where they create a digital version of you. They program the GPT personality based off all of your social media posts to emulate your behavior, and they will have a virtual slave version of you that they use to get off.
That's so gross.
And there's nothing you can do about it. What are you going to do?
Live and let live.
No, that's gross and weird.
I know, but what
Can't
can
do
you
anything about it.
People's fantasies are their own.
Just creating many simulations, it seems like.
So they're talking about like impersonation and like people creating, obviously people can draw pictures of you and have them on their walls. They're allowed to do that. And people can even like a comedian, because the idea of impersonating someone, like a comedian on stage being like making a voice and sounding like a guy, you're impersonating, but this recrime of false personification, this is like technically can become a federal offense when you are representing yourself as someone who you aren't. That's when I think things should become illegal when it comes to this stuff, I think.
Well, what Tim's describing is like, number one, seems definitely like stalking to me. And it also is like non-consensual creation of pornography, right? Like if someone were to take your face and put it into pornographic stuff that you don't want, maybe
you can't do anything about it.
You can't do anything about it, but maybe they're watching it for themselves. Maybe they're posting it online. Like it's a huge violation, even though it just seems like, oh, well, they'll whatever. It's creepy.
They'll put you in. They'll put you in, and they'll make the eye color brown instead of blue, and shorten the nose a little bit. Bang! Now I'm not in trouble.
And there'll be a market where they'll be
weird.
selling your app of you in like a black market kind of thing, and like you need
So
some sort of.
profiting off an image that you don't want to be part of.
And normally we have a recourse, like a governmental recourse we can appeal to when that kind of thing happens, like protect my persona.
Did you guys know
government
this?
that I pay taxes to?
Facebook Messenger. You open up Facebook Messenger and you go to create new chat. AI chat is an option. And this is the weirdest thing. Snoop Dogg's in here called Dungeon Master. Mr. Beast is in here called Zach. Is that Tom Brady? Confident sports debater. I don't know who half these people are. Some of them are just weird alien characters, but those are some of the ones I recognize so far. There's someone who's an athlete. You know, when I opened this up, because I saw someone posted online, I think it was a little bit of TikTok, that the Facebook AI, I was like, Facebook AI? And then I looked it up, and it's just in the app. And then I opened it, and I'm like, Mr. Beast? Yeah.
Wait, so you're messaging an AI version of Mr.
It's an
Beast?
AI called Zach, but it's Mr. Beast.
Yeah, I think
it's Mr. Beast's picture.
I think they got his licensed his likeness and personality, and then they put it into these avatars called
Or they
Zach
just
or whatever.
Put his picture in an AI generator and said, oh, it's a whole new image. It's a totally different person.
But I think in this instance, they did pay these guys. I could be wrong about this.
So people want to just converse with a fake. You know,
So I opened Dungeon Master. I said, why do you look like Snoop? It said, I'm Dungeon Master, not Snoop Dogg. But if you want me to guide you through a fantasy world filled with magic and adventure, follow me. Yo, it's Snoop Dogg. That's Snoop.
They probably paid him for that.
I have to imagine they did.
Yeah, big money.
Because I'm like, why is Mr. Beast in here? And I'm sure these other people who are in here too are personalities. I just don't know who they are.
I mean, how accurate is it? I mean, is it?
It's a picture of Mr. Beast.
Yeah, but the conversation.
It's a random AI. I'm Zach, your big brother, here to make jokes.
They got to do Snoop Beast and Mr. Dog, by the way.
I bet it's kind of not Mr. Beast, but you can tell it's Mr. Beast.
Yeah. It's supposed to be Mr. Beast.
But you can tell it's slightly different, right?
It's very close. If it looks exactly
like Mr. Beast, the same mannerisms. That's so weird.
I wish I could ask him. I think they got paid for their likenesses.
So want to Google it?
What's it called?
Meta AI.
Meta.
I said, why do you look like Mr. Beast? And he starts shaking his head.
Well, it's really transforming.
He says,
reality.
I don't look. I said, I don't look like Mr. Beast. I'm Zach. I'm the one with the jokes, not the one with the billions. That's so
they're trying to differentiate it.
Kendall Jenner's on there, apparently. AI alter egos. Yeah, I was reading about this. It's crazy.
Oh, I hate this.
This is from last October, I guess, is when this started getting hot.
Hey, Ian.
Hey,
It's me, Jordan Peterson.
I hear you.
I'm just calling to let you know you need to clean your room.
You
clean
son
your
of a-
room, Ian.
No.
Clean your room, Ian.
Okay. Okay.
It just seems like with this like alter ego thing, they're trying to make it so people will stop seeking out other people to talk to. They're like, not only is it like, oh, you're talking to someone online who may or may not be real, may or may not be catfishing you. Now it's like, oh, they're definitely not real. And in fact, just build a relationship with them instead of someone, you know, that you work with or someone you know, or, you know, going outside. I don't like it at all.
It's one thing.
Yeah, no, they announced this. Meta just created a Snoop Dogg AI for your next RPGs.
That's funny.
They must have paid him. They
It's Snoop Dogg. They paid him.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, Snoop.
That's so weird, man. And there's Mr. Beast.
Kendall Jenner does Billy.
Oh, it says Mr. Beast, Zach the Funny Man.
Wow.
Meta chose Mr. Beast as AI generated Funny Man. That's so
we don't know what reality is anymore. You know, and that's where you even look at like dating apps. I mean, do you know if the person that you're swiping right or left on is actually real?
You don't know anything about them. You're meeting them on the internet.
If it's even someone.
If it's someone at all.
I know. Who defines reality?
It's over, man.
It's creepy.
I remember, and we said this every time we talk about AI, we bring this up, but it was like mid 2022, and I was using Stable Diffusion to make AI images, and they were grotesque and didn't really work. Nancy Pelosi looked like a weird caricature of Nancy Pelosi, and today, you type into Midjourney or Stable Diffusion 3, which is crazy. Nancy Pelosi shaking hands with Donald Trump, Getty Images, and it perfect. You couldn't even tell it's fake. It's crazy. We're there.
What is it going to be like? What is life going to be like?
In a year?
Yeah.
Maybe the singularity just implodes.
I was down there.
itself.
I was getting ready for work, and I was like, computer, tell me about the weather. I was like going to ask the machine all these questions about like, who's the guest tonight on tonight's show? What's his background like? I wanted to ask the machine all these questions. It was the first time I've ever had the impulse go that far. Like I was on the Star Trek holodeck or something talking to the machine, and maybe that's where we're headed.
And you know, why would we trust that output, right? And that's what's becoming really creepy about this. We're losing that human connection, that human touch. That's what makes us human. So
well, and didn't people like do this to Alexa one time? Well, they'll ask it questions and it gives you kind of warped or biased answers.
Well, GPT, a bunch of lawyers are getting caught for asking ChatGPT to write up its arguments for them, and it creates fake citations. It's hilarious. And they're getting caught like, hey, this is fake. You used ChatGPT, didn't you? And they're like, uh-oh.
And why is it using a fake citation to...
Because it doesn't know the real citation.
So then why is
it's creating a facsimile of what an argument looks like. So the argument will... The AI looks at a legal argument and it says, John v. U.S. et al., blah, blah, and then it's just like something like that. So it makes random words and makes it look like it's a case. It's not... The AI right now that we're talking about with it's predictive text. It's not actually an intelligent being that says, let me analyze a legal case in a similar area and then come back to this one like a human would do. It's just going, what's the next word I should write in this paper? And so here's how ChatGPT and all these other ones work. You say, write me a fairy tale. It scours the internet for fairy tale story, write me a fairy tale. And then what it says is, what is the highest probability for a word to start a fairy tale? What is
Once, yeah.
And then
upon
time.
That's it. That's exactly how it works. And so it's going 99.99999% accuracy once. The next word, 99.9% accuracy.
But creating citations, right? I mean, that's like a source. Why would they?
Because it's creating words, not legal arguments. All it's doing is saying what word is most likely to come after this word. And so when you have a citation, it's not actually making a legal argument. It's just putting words on paper. The large language models don't know arguments exist. All it knows is A plus B equals C. So when it looks at a legal document and it sees, on average, every so often, there's a parentheses, and then a name, V, and name, it just will auto-generate random things.
Interesting.
Yep.
And they're getting caught doing it.
Yeah. Because when the judges are like, let me look up the citation, they're like, that's not real. And then they end up finding out this whole thing's fake. And they're like, did you use ChatGPT to write your argument for you?
And they're like, maybe. Yep. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Will I get in trouble if I did? Yes.
But it's the future.
Imagine where we're going to be in a year when it actually can properly cite. And then you're going to have two people file a lawsuit. And the judge is going to go, what is your claim, sir? And it's like, this man owes me $500 because I painted his fence and he told me to pay $500. The other guy goes, no, he painted the wrong color. I can't pay a guy who did the wrong thing. And then he's going to be like, okay, he's going to type it in, press enter. And then the computer's going to go, and then they're going to be like, okay, does anybody want to read the arguments? No? Okay, final termination to the plaintiff. Plaintiff wins. And they're going to go, that's it.
No thanks.
Imagine how fast we're going to go through criminal and civil trial. Now let me ask you this. An AI is found within 3 years to call judgments in criminal cases with 99.9% accuracy. The people who are innocent are found not guilty. People who are guilty are found guilty. And then you go to court and the judge says you can plead guilty, not guilty, or to the machine. If you plead to the machine, your court case ends today. No lawyers required, no long continuances, and it's your choice. You can say, I'd rather not do that, and we can go through the normal process. So you're a regular person, you have all the evidence, and you say, give me the AI because I've got the evidence right now. And it just goes, not guilty, you can go home. And then the court's like, okay, there it is.
Well, I think that goes against the foundations of our country where you have a jury of your peers.
No, but you had a choice. You can choose a judge. You can choose a bench trial. So it's really about having the right to a jury trial. But many people choose bench trials because they think the judge will have better judgment. And that is often correct. There was one guy who got acquitted in J6. He went for a bench trial. Judge said, yeah, cop waved you in. Free to go. Acquitted. Crazy. Well, would you choose the AI?
No. Well, I don't think so. But I would hope that you would use the AI in conjunction with human authorization, at least for a while, like as an advisor. Kind of the AI gives you its output of arguments, and then the jury has an opportunity to look at the AI's arguments in addition to the lawyer's arguments. Or you could have an AI as your lawyer submit your arguments for you.
What if
fake citations?
There will be a trial, but it'll be AI prosecution, AI defense, AI jury.
AI
human judge,
victim,
human judge.
Oh,
and so what would happen is, now this one's interesting because an AI prosecution should concede the case if it concludes with a high degree of probability that you are not guilty. Whereas a human prosecutor can know you're innocent, but try their hardest to lock you up for the rest of your life.
Yep. The AI, it will be valued more on its accuracy than on its willingness to put innocent people away.
The AI could...
It doesn't have a career that it needs to.
And with the judge, the AI could say, the prosecution has made a determination that the accused has a 67.396% chance of being innocent of these crimes. Shall the court continue? And then the DA would say yes or no, but would have to publicly acknowledge that even on their side, they've come to a determination of a high likelihood of innocence. And they can still say, yeah, but 32% chance that he's guilty of a serious crime. I'd say we present the evidence. And people might say, yeah, I agree. And then the defense AI would come to a similar conclusion. And then they would both input arguments, and then it would, okay, we not guilty.
Yeah, man. Because a lot of what we talk about AI is the bad stuff that's coming with it, but it's going to be so much good stuff.
No, I don't believe you.
So much like we're running out of food. How do we avoid famine? And the AI will be like, you need to have this much food in this place by this time.
No.
Make sure your trucks can take this there. Then we'll have the things.
You're
set up
half
for
correct.
This. Yeah.
The AI will say, have less kids.
Maybe, but you'll have lots of AIs giving you different datas. But it will be able to help you navigate chaos as well as create chaos.
I don't trust it, but I love the optimism.
You'll be like, I want to go, just on your average day, you'll be like, I want to drive 40 miles, but I got to get gas, and then I want to get chicken wings. And then it'll be like, go here and here and here. And you'll put it in, it'll tell you in 3 seconds. You'll be like, okay, cool.
You want to know what the real freaky thing is? Because we've brought up this Terminator scenario before. In the early days, when we're imagining and hypothesizing about AI and what it'll be, we come up with Terminator. Like, robots are going to say, and this goes back almost 100 years. I mean, we're talking about 80 years of sci-fi writers. The AI says, the human goes, computer, end all war on Earth. And then it goes, will do. Blows up humanity and kills everybody. That's one way to end all war, war to end all wars. But here's what I think we're actually looking at. You're going to have an app, and it's going to be called something like, jobs online, whatever. And you're going to open your app, and it's a gig economy thing. And you're going to be like, I need work. And you're going to press a button. And then one day you're going to be sitting there. Your phone's going to go, brr, you're going to look, and it says new job available, $50. And you're going to hit it. And it says, you'll receive this object from this man and bring this object 3 blocks to this man. And you'll be like, okay. You'll walk outside, and there'll be a guy walking up, and it'll go, I guess this is for you. And it'll be a weird mechanical object. You have no idea what it is. And you'll go, sure thing. Then you say, what do I got to do? I got to walk 3 blocks this way. You'll walk. And then a random guy will walk up and go, you have the thing? I got the thing. Thanks so much, buddy. Give me 5 stars. And then your app is going to go bling, $50 deposited into your Venmo. And you go, I wonder what that was. The machine is building, some kind of gigantic new technological device. You have no idea what it's doing. Someone running a company will say, we want to build a new data center. What's more efficient? Getting one guy to run around and do all of it, or distributing all of the work in its most minute form? Take a look at what we did with burger restaurants and the advent of McDonald's. So this was, I think it was McDonald's Brothers or whatever. I watched that movie. What's the founder? Mm-hmm. And basically they were like, we figured out how to make burgers really, really fast. Everybody does one thing. One person grills the burgers. One person puts the ketchup and mustard on the burgers. One person's toasting the buns. One person is wrapping the burgers. One person's putting them in the bags. So it's an assembly line. Instead of getting one chef to make a burger, then take an order, it goes real slow. That's what the AI will do to the labor market. You won't even know who you're working for, but you'll get paid to do it, and you'll get paid well to do it because it's more efficient, saves time and energy. And that's it. You're going to look at your app and you're going to be like, I got to give a bag of corn to this kid, and it's going to give me $50. Who would say no?
You know how people are having their attention spans shortened by things like TikTok by watching these clips? I wonder if AI is going to start filling in the attention gaps for people. So they'll think for like 3 seconds and then they'll get distracted, but the AI will complete their thought for them, and then they'll have their...
But is it really their thought then?
No, it would be it.
Well, that doesn't sound authentic, like an authentic human thought to me. If the AI is like just kind of building on half a thought.
Like if I send you a video online, if I saw on Instagram, is that video me? Technically, no, even though it's me talking to you. But
it's if you spent the time to make the video, it's your video. Whereas like if I gave you a paragraph and said, but then the rest of this I put into AI and it's a book. Did I write a book or did AI write a book for me? Right? Like these seem like very different things to me.
Yeah, like when does it cease becoming AI and start to become you? Like it's kind of one Like, when is the data?
I think when you call an AI, it is not your thing. You're actually relying on the computer
to produce information that is not the computer, though. The computer is like a vessel to give you the info, whereas
or the AI or whatever it is. I just mean, like, if you only do half the work, can you actually claim that it's yours? You know, it's the same thing. If we co-wrote a book, our name would both be on there. But if you say, oh, I wrote one paragraph, I gave it to the AI, then it generated a full novel. If you publish it under your name, I just personally feel like you're actually being deceptive. In fact, you couldn't actually do this task. You needed AI to do it for you.
It's the argument you could say is like, if you go to the grocery store, but you drive there, did you actually go? Or was it a car that went that you were taken along for with, like, it wasn't just you didn't just go to the store. It was you and a car, and like you couldn't have done it without the car. So did you even really do it? Was it just you?
No, I think you still went to the store.
You did.
Whereas, like,
if
you only gave half a thought to an AI and it filled it out to be a complete story, then it has done a lot of work that your brain could have done and you opted not to.
You know what's going to happen? Once we're all Neuralinked.
No, thank you.
Everyone's going to be sharing their thoughts rapidly in real time, and it's going to create a hyper consciousness.
Yeah, it does.
And so what ends up happening is you will instantly know what you want to do, know where you need to do it, and you will just be a part of this greater, like, hive mind, I guess. But the hive mind will effectively exist as a singular conscious, like hyper consciousness, where everyone just knows and feels everything else in real time. And so emotions don't matter, because if someone believes something is false and they're plugged into the machine, they instantly will know what everyone else knows, and it would instantly correct any false beliefs. But hold on. So I look at it like single-celled organisms running around the table right now, doing their thing, eating, living their lives. Then there are multicellular organisms where all the different cells in the body have specialized jobs. Imagine all humans sync up in the Neuralink, and instantly there are brain cell versions of people. Their job is they're in labs and they're analyzing and they're doing their research in the data, and all of the information in their minds is transferred to every other human in real time. And some humans know that now they need sulfur. I have seen and known instantly what all humans are doing, and all humans now instantly realize we need 3% more sulfur production. So the humans just start doing it. They just do what needs to be done. And then a few people break out of the machine. They reject it. They rip the Neuralink off when they're old enough. They're sitting there. They're hearing everything, and then they grab it, or it gets damaged. The Neuralink breaks. You know, kids are born and they're instantly Neuralinked, and everyone knows it's good. It's great. When they're older, one's walking and then struck by lightning, frying the Neuralink, and then all of a sudden they're like, what am I? What's happening? No, being individual is more important. And they decide to run and join a colony of free individuals who start building and thriving in a city. What do you call a group of cells inside the human body that are operating outside of the body's norms and growing and consuming?
It's cancer.
Yep. And then what happens to cancer? We destroy it. So when the hive mind eventually takes over and everyone's a part of it and they know what their job is, my job is to get sulfur. Then the people who decide to be individuals and explore life and be free will be hunted down and destroyed.
But it concerns me that when people are netted in like that, because emotions are still real, and if we receive data, we all get the same piece of data. We need copper, but one of us gets afraid, and the chemical, the cortisol, shoots off, and we see that copper thing as like a bad thing because we're afraid of the data. Then that's like cancerous to the system too. So like the people that are afraid, it'll go around and be like, we must remove fear protocol. We cannot have cortisol interfering with our data. I can imagine that kind of thing too, because the fallibility of the human body.
I don't think that. I think the overwhelming will of the collective consciousness would override.
You think it'll override it?
Absolutely.
All your adrenals and stuff.
Every human in the world yelling at you, get the copper, we need it, and you would say yes.
Probably really fast.
I want you to imagine this.
Evolve people really quick.
And I'll tell you where my data is that I believe I'm correct. It's Dylan Mulvaney. It's not just Dylan Mulvaney, but Dylan Mulvaney is a really great example. There are a bunch of people online who are shaped by their audiences, and we know this happens. So if you plugged into the Neuralink, let's separate the Neuralink right now. Let's imagine you're on stage. You're at Wembley. What's the seating capacity of Wembley? 80,000 or something?
Something like that. Let's find out.
And everyone in there is going, drink, 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 drink. And they're cheering and screaming. And there you are, Ian, standing on stage with a bottle of milk. And they're all screaming, we love you.
90,000.
90,000. And all of Wembley Stadium is screaming, we love Ian. We love Ian. drink the milk. You're going to go, yeah, and you're going to drink it.
If it was like a real life thing, it just happened to... I don't know, man. I can't stand peer pressure, dude.
And I can tell you how we know this is true, and it's Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan Mulvaney did what the algorithm told Dylan Mulvaney to do, which included hormones and surgery and other things, despite the fact that Dylan does not exhibit gender dysphoria as we know it. Dylan Mulvaney, and I cite Dylan because of the news around the individual, was making safari videos. I'm Dylan. I'm on a safari. Look at the koala. Woo! And then wasn't getting that much traffic, and chased after whatever got more and more views, and then decided to be what the algorithm told Dylan to be. So if people plug into the Neuralink and they have the summation of human will yelling, "We love you, get the copper," they will say yes. And they're cheering because in their mind, it's akin to a view counter at 7-8 billion watching you waiting for the copper. And you're like, I gotta get the copper.
But isn't that already happening? I
Yes.
mean, if you look at COVID,
Now imagine if they plug in.
Yeah, COVID was one of the greatest psyops, right? I mean, we all saw that. They had to counter the ticker of the deaths. But then I was talking to my friend about this. Do you guys remember Coney 2012?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was one of the craziest psyops, like one of the earliest psyops.
It made no sense.
He was like
Right.
an African dictator or something.
But he really wasn't. He was
And
like
he had
the
already
head
been
of-
had he already been captured or something? Like it
but
wasn't
he was diminished, like the Lord's Resistance Army. And it was, but they made it. I remember that time period. I mean, that you couldn't escape it. But that was one of the psyops. So, but
and
I
a
think
bunch of kids went around putting up posters, being
Right.
like, "Yeah, we're part of this."
At my high school, they like organized like a club to
the
be like,
invisible
let's, like,
children.
Yeah.
That's so.
But then
weird.
I don't. You're saying, Tim, like, is this a good thing or a bad thing with this global hive that you're talking about?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a thing.
Because good and bad. Like what is good and bad? Even
This is 12 years ago. Coney 2012.
this was the biggest thing on the planet for like 3
Yeah.
weeks, maybe more.
The number one
And then-
video for
3 months.
a long
Wasn't
time.
the guy like who was leading it? Didn't he like get arrested? Over
Yeah.
some-
He was naked in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
He had a
And they-
mental breakdown.
They
yeah.
said he was cranking it, but he wasn't. He was just holding and squeezing while banging on the ground, buck naked.
Yeah, it sounds like bath salts or something.
Yeah.
Some exotic, crazy drug that guy was on. I don't know, but that's what it sounds like.
that was a psyop, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think they meant for it to go viral. Like, I don't think they thought it was going to be this.
How did it happen then? Just organically?
The YouTube algorithm was okay. There's this woman. Someone Google this. A woman, a van life girl with her snake, and she made 2 videos and got like 3 million subscribers overnight. YouTube makes an algorithm, and someone accidentally lands right in the bullseye.
Janelle Iliana?
Yeah,
That might be her. Yeah.
is that her name?
I think so.
Let me see if I can find her.
With her pet snake, Alfredo.
How do you spell her name?
Janelle is Jennelle.
I found it.
Iliana.
So she made 2 videos
Oh, I've seen this
and got
girl.
millions of views. And I don't even think she makes videos anymore. And
She still makes them on Reels or like TikTok.
it
or
was
something.
crazy how I shower living in a van. And here's what I think. I think there was a psyop on YouTube for sure. I think YouTube was intentionally promoting van life. Van life
Look at
was huge. They want millennials to be happy to not own a home. You will own nothing and you will be happy. And they made all these videos and they were like, this is my conspiracy theory. It's not mine. A lot of people think the same thing. They're telling, and the reason why, the evidence, she made 2 videos and she got millions of subscribers. Why? What I think happened was they made an algorithm saying promote van life. We want young people to be happy with living in squalor. And she made the perfect combination of keywords, titles, thumbnail, and video. And the algorithm went, this video, bang, and fired it off. And then, then everyone kind of realized, hey, wait a minute, she got millions of subs overnight from this. Why was everyone being shown this video? And I think then they panicked and pulled her out. Like Mr. Beast only gets the views he does because YouTube decided he does. His content is intentionally on the front page of YouTube.
I never really followed his breakthrough. I don't know a lot about when he stepped over the threshold. He was like grinding for years.
Let me
though.
explain. Let's talk about Mr. Beast.
Yeah, let's. Jimmy.
I think he makes good content, but let's.
We just got dropped!
Okay, I don't care.
Just got dropped.
Hold on.
So awesome.
So we know what he does, right? I survived 7 days in an abandoned city, 109 million views. He has 243 million subscribers, 780 videos. Let's take a look at his oldest videos. Worst Minecraft saw trap ever.
Awesome.
More birds in Minecraft. This block since when? LOL. What is this? Pokemon videos?
He sat around, played video games, and studied the algorithm for like years.
What happened was he didn't. It was an accident.
No, he had friends. They would get together for like 12 hours a day and talk algorithm.
Right. But I don't want you to make it seem like they sat here saying, how can we succeed on YouTube, and started like a company. What happened was they were all making YouTube videos, and they were like, oh, I made this video and it did well. And because we've all done this on YouTube, because we know the algorithm changes. Then he started to change 100 video special. He started to change his videos. It doesn't matter if you're sitting around asking what does better or what doesn't. What matters is whenever a video would do better, he would naturally do more of it. Whenever a video would do worse, he would naturally shy away from doing it. He tried a Hearthstone video. Seems like it didn't really work all that well. How much money does Captain Sparkles make? It did decently okay. So he made more. How much money does this person make? How much money? You can actually see all the different attempts he made at creating content. Video games. Look at this, 1,500 subs. It's crazy. The reason these have views is because after he got big, people go back to watch them. Mm-hmm. But like most people, you can see the evolution of the content and what it turned into. This is this is it. The machine makes people, not the other way around.
Yeah. And that goes to the psyops, right? And we're talking about TikTok. Isn't it kind of interesting how TikTok really rose during that COVID time? I mean, you had the China Wuhan virus come out of that lab, and also this Chinese company TikTok that came about it, and now it's the number one social media app in the world. I just find it a little. I don't believe there's coincidences, so it's just a little strange.
Yeah, the anti-beast. Let's see when and then what happened was Mr. Beast eventually made a video like I'm giving money away, and then all of a sudden it got a ton of views. And he's like, I'm gonna make more of these.
Yes.
But that's just him. That's just him realizing what's successful. People do that on Twitter all the time or Facebook.
Exactly. Where is it? Giving random people $1,000. Look at this. Yep.
This is when everything changed.
Yep. All of a sudden he's getting big views.
Really?
Yep. That's when all the views start kicking in big.
I like the video where he paid his mom's house off. Oh wait, is that in the bottom right? Giving my mom $100,000. I don't know. He surprised his mom and paid her house off. That was a cool video. But he's like, now smile so we get a good thumbnail for the video, Mom. And she's like,
I'm really sorry.
He totally knows what he's doing.
Total clickbait, total manipulation. But it's not just a single out Mr. Beast. They all do it. Every single YouTuber. They will make videos, and the videos that work, they make more of them. That's it.
Yeah.
But that is a dangerous road, because if the people making the algorithms want you to do insidious stuff, and they'll give you more views if you do the bad thing.
Yeah, like maybe they want you to undergo
money.
very, crazy surgeries or something, so they keep promoting your videos, and then you got to keep one-upping yourself until you've caused physical harm to your body.
Oh, that's something that little kids need to learn. This is actually conversations little kids need to have now. Like 21st century schooling needs to be like, if you don't get views, it's okay. You are not your subscriber count. You are you.
I mean, being an influencer is an actual desirable career for a lot of
It's the number one,
right?
actually.
It's the number one.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. We should talk about this. On the other hand, they are all seeing the success that comes from being able to have a successful public life like this, and they're willing to access it for a lot of different reasons. I mean, I think you'd say, stay true to who you are and do whatever, but it's, to a certain extent, like they're going to chase the money, and they're going to chase the influence and the likes. I don't know how effective it would be.
Then are they actually themselves, or are they controlled by what people want them to be, so they just become part of a circus?
Right, especially if they start really young. Like
Right.
if a kid decides at 15 they want to be a YouTube star, are they developing their interest in going to YouTube to be like, here are the things I'm interested in? Or are they saying, what do people on YouTube seem interested in that I could theoretically say I'm interested in and make a video about? That's a very weird way to live, or a weird way to grow up.
I used to do that in 2006. That was when I started. I would look at whatever videos got featured, and I'd make a response video to the featured videos. Stuff I didn't care about it at all. I was totally selling myself out to get famous on the YouTube. And I would like a video about a sloth, because Barats and Beretta had a featured video about a sloth. I did that. That one did pretty well. Just junk crap. I'd respond to people. People would like make a video talking about something, and I'd just make a response directly to them, being like, well, if you believed in what you said, then you wouldn't have blinked 3 times at the 30-second mark. You're obviously lying here. Like just trolling people that were really popular.
Yeah,
and then eventually I got popular doing it, and I hated myself. I don't like, I got famous for the wrong reason. Like, you got to do something, be who you respect, and get well known for doing that, and then you'll love yourself.
But I would say, I don't know, 2/3 of online personalities, especially on Twitter, are like, what can I say today, in order to get traffic or to get attention?
It's really tempting.
And the funny thing is, what really bums me out about X's pay incentive programs, where it's like you get paid for engagement, is that now everyone accuses me of click farming when I'm just trolling them. I'm like, no. I'm trying to rally you up and insult you. I'm not trying to make money off you. I'm already rich.
I'm just trying to make you feel bad.
Yeah. Or elicit, incite emotional responses. So when I tweeted things like democracy, I tweeted believing in God, it should be illegal to not believe in God. And then I tweeted almost right away, it should be illegal to believe in God. And then it was wild how the left only chose one of those tweets and made it go viral, and they were sharing it and screenshotting it. And I'm like, that's the funny thing about this. And then people were like, Tim's trying to engagement farm to make money. I'm like, no, I'm screwing with people. It's funny. I don't know. That's unfair. Like, I make $1,000 every 2 weeks on X. A company makes millions of dollars. I don't need to make money off X. How dare you insult my attempt to insult you?
Yeah, you're almost testing the algorithm in some ways.
I mean, that when I tweeted that was like make a point. I've made this point several times.
But did you think it would go to that level?
Of course, because I've done it before. You tweet two things. So there was a guy there's a Twitter account. Everyone was cheering for it because he said something like, I can't remember what it was, but he was like, the World Series is going to be between the Red Sox and the Cubs. It's going to go down to the fourth, it's going to be in the fifth inning. They're going to do this. And then in the last inning, it's going to turn around. And then everyone's like, how did he get it right? He posted this at the beginning of the season and he got it right. Exactly what happened in the final game. Wow. And you know what he did? At the beginning of the season, he created a Twitter account and he tweeted like 500 different scenarios. And then every time one of those scenarios became impossible, he deleted it.
Got it.
And then by the end of the year, there was only one tweet left. And people were like, wow, it's from a year ago. And I'm like, so were the other 400 that he got rid of.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
You're making me want to have trails for deletions that we should see that something was deleted whenever it was deleted.
Yeah, YouTube used to let you change the video file. You could if you uploaded a video to YouTube, you could upload a corrected version of it to the same link, and people did all sorts of crazy shenanigans.
Yeah, because they would feature you, and then you could swap it out. I mean, you could change the title of your video after it got featured.
People would make videos where it's like,
I don't know if you could swap. I've never tried swapping.
They would make a video saying where like, I'm going to pick my lottery numbers. I hope I win. And then after the numbers come out, upload a fake version from afterwards of them picking the right numbers to make it seem like they won. You could do all sorts of stuff like that. But they got rid of that. That was like 13, 14 years ago. They got rid of that feature. And I think, I don't know if it existed for everybody, but I know a lot of people had it and they screwed around with it. Yeah. Internet's a wild place. And I think it's going to melt people's brains. And I'm a big fan of banning social media for kids. 18 and up only.
No.
Florida's doing 16, but I think it should be 18.
No, that's nuts.
What do you think about this? Would you keep kids off the internet?
Legislatively, I don't know, but I do think it's becoming such a problem that we have to tackle it. I mean, you're seeing, so like, what does it say about our society that the number one profession that children want to become is an influencer? Versus you go to China, the number one job that they want to become is like an astronaut, a doctor. So I think it's having a real impact on society where people are doing the most ridiculous things. You're seeing some of these YouTubers who are, just complete, maniacs. And I don't think that progresses society. And I think government should be instituted and be promoting policies that better our country, not make it in the worst forms possible. So if personally, I would not want children to be, using social media because I do think it rots the brain. But there are some benefits to it.
It's addictive.
It's very addictive.
It's causing Tourette's in young girls. Yeah. It causes depression, abnormal socialization. Like it is, adults can handle it, and not even that well. Yeah. But at least adults can try to handle it. But kids absolutely cannot handle it.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Super Chats. So if you haven't already, would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends, and head over to timcast.com, click join us, become a member today, because this show is made possible thanks in part to viewers like you. No member shows on Fridays, though, so tomorrow is my birthday, and we won't have a show. So if you haven't already smashed the like button, as a birthday present, smash the like button, send in your Super Chats, and become a member at timcast.com. Maybe I should put up a special video tomorrow where it's like today's my birthday, and the present you can get me is to become a member and support the work that we do. And that's the only present I need is you guys saying, thank you for doing everything you do and supporting us.
You heard it here, guys. Tim's going to work on a Saturday that is his birthday to make a video for you.
We are filming tomorrow. It is work. So tomorrow, the skate park is 99% done at Freedomistan. There are only some bells and whistles are left. And actually, I should do this before we go to the super chats. We have this bad boy. It's not a. Can I make it better? Is there a way to get a? Nah, you can't really see it. Anyway, you want to pull that up? Yep. So this right here is a new component of the skate park, the death drop. This is a 5-foot transition, meaning from the flat part up the curve to the wall where the curve goes vertical is 5 feet. And then the vertical portion is 11 feet. So this is an 11-foot vert wall to a 5-foot transition. And I have offered $10,000 to whoever can successfully drop in on this. We have criteria. I will give the gist of some of these right now. It is a skateboard only competition because the BMXers are like, I can do it. Okay. It's for skateboards. And we have criteria for qualifiers because of the serious nature and risk of injury. We will not allow just literally anyone. However, it is not restricted to professional skateboarders. So what we're doing is we haven't set up the email just yet, but we are fielding inquiries from anyone who wants to make the attempt to drop in on the death drop at the new Freedomistan skate park, meaning we would bring you in and you would drop in. There are several criteria. The first thing is you have to prove you can skate. So you will need videos and demo tapes proving it is you, and you need to be able to prove it's you. And if you can't prove it's you, too bad. If you send us a video and then you send us social media and the video looks different and we're like, we can't prove that's you, sorry, we're not letting you do it because this is an 11-foot. It's like 23 feet from the top to the bottom. Yeah. And it's 16 feet from the top to the deck. And if you screw this up, you're falling straight onto your side. You could break your neck. Pros only. I don't know if it's possible. Some pros have said they believe it is. For a kid, it may be. So what we're going to be doing is people who feel they have who can do it. I want to stress, like, this ramp is 5 feet tall.
It's way gnarlier in person.
I think people are overestimating. I could do that. It is possible, but man. So what we're probably going to do, we have several pros who have reached out saying I can do this, and we're like, okay. Pros, for the most part, we have vetted because we know them, we know their abilities. Any regular skater, core skater, or local skater from a certain area who wants to submit can submit. You need to prove you can drop in on stuff. You need to prove you can skate because this is top tier, high level pro stuff. And after that, when we select, I don't know how many people wind up selecting to actually come out for a session. You have to actually get up the wall ride to the window before we will let you even try to drop in. That is actually not that hard. I could probably I could not drop in on this, but I could probably at least get to the window on the vert wall. That's probably actually decently easy, window height. And if you can, then you are basically able, I think, at that point. If you can get to the window, you probably will succeed at dropping it. It's different from dropping in because your compression into the wall helps stabilize you versus dropping in. You have none. So they're not the same. But then we're going to, we still need to figure out the total criteria because there will be only one prize, which means in the event that more than one individual successfully drops in the least amount of tries. Let's say it takes someone one try to do it. Another person says, I'll try it, and they both get it in one try. There will need to be a sudden death tiebreaker of some sort. So there's only one prize here, but we're working on that. And we're getting a whole bunch of pros being like, oh crap, 10K is no joke. 10,000. We get people who don't even skate being like, I will try. I don't care. It's like, you're not going to be able to pull it off. So anyway, tomorrow is the first day the park will be open. It is my birthday, and we will be having a soft opening. And the official opening party for the whole space will be April 6th. But for tomorrow, we will be filming this for the boonies, and it is it is a work function, but it's also fun. So that being said, we'll go to Super Chats now. And so stay tuned. Follow at Boonies HQ. There's $10,000 on the line, and submissions are open to all if you have the skills to pay the bills. We've already got some, we have a lot of submissions from local skaters, not pro, not sponsored, who seem capable of making the attempt. And, I was talking to Richie Jackson, pro skater, who's working with us, And he's like, I got a handful of pros who have said they want to do it. And I said, if we only allowed pros to come, it would be so whack. Like, it's not about being a pro and having people know who you are. We want people who are capable of doing it. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But what we're ultimately going to do is we're going to set a series of challenges for Freedomistan that will be open to the public for submission. That's right. With all the obstacles and the expansions that we're doing, we are going to create prizes where we are going to, like, it's not just the drop-in. We've got other obstacles. And we will say, if you successfully accomplish this or that, we're going to have various prize levels of, 10K. And we might even, I think 10K might be the cap, because I don't know what else we do after dropping in from 11 feet. For 22 feet up, 11 feet of vert into a 5-foot ramp is about the craziest thing we have at the space. But we're going to set other challenges too, like a backside tail slide down the hubba. We'll give someone $100 and stuff. And that means that regular local skaters can always submit once we get the system open. And if we vet you and your talent, we'll bring you in to make the attempts at the challenges. And I think that'll be really cool. It's a great content. And I really want to break the industry and open it up to everybody. Meaning you might be some dude who's been skating for 10 years and you're a local guy. You've got no sponsors. You've never got a foot in the industry, but you can tray flip crook really well. And that's one of the challenges. We will bring you in. We'll film you. We'll put it up there and that'll be fun. So that being said, become a member at timcast.com if you want to give me a birthday present, and we will read your super chats. All right. Tim Jake 78 says, South Carolina became the 29th constitutional carry state yesterday when Governor McMaster signed the Second Amendment Preservation Act. Man, I am loving it. Hot dog. That's great. Good job, America. We are getting it.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Jacob Parody says, I invite you all to visit Narbar's Candles on Public Square to try our St. Patrick's Day themed candles. Basil, sage, mint, and lemongrass bergamot bliss. Is that what it is?
Bergamo.
Bergamo?
Bergamo. It's the flavor in Earl Grey tea. I'm sure you know about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cheers to the parallel economy.
Mm-hmm.
Josh McCluskey says, rest in peace to a true legend, Akira Toriyama. Thanks for the memories you gave so many people and the friendships Dragon Ball helped bring together. The rest easy.
Yeah, man.
Akira Toriyama, man. And also, I think, what did he do? He did Dragon Quest.
Oh, the game?
Yeah. Akira Toriyama did the characters for Dragon Quest, I believe, right?
I don't know. I didn't know that.
He did more than Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z, Super, Dragon Ball.
Yeah, he did. He was the main character, monster designer of Dragon Quest series.
Yep. Legend.
Yeah, seriously.
When Dragon Ball Z was massively popular, and it is basically the biggest show in Japan. They have billboards and Goku is a celebrity. When they wanted to bring it to the United States, American business entertainment were convinced kids would not want to watch this extremely long, complicated, continuous storyline, and they were wrong. 100% wrong.
Oh, Dragon Quest was Dragon Warrior.
That's right.
I didn't know that. I played Dragon Warrior 1 on the Nintendo,
right.
Man.
Yeah. What a good game. Metal
You could say yes to the end boss. He's like, join me. And you can say yes, and then the whole screen turns red and the game just stops. That's crazy.
Dragon Warrior was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we at? And the spells you had were hurt. It was like, I'm going to cast a spell, hurt, and hurt more. That was amazing. You couldn't call it fire or something.
Oh, funny.
They changed that later with the other games, though. You got explode or something. Let's grab some more super chat. Steven says, notice that the Gold Star dad didn't just call out Biden for his own child's death. He called out 13 Marines. That's right. Can't have that. Oh, we got a big series of super chats. Rusted Baron says, longish Tim watcher since around 18. I used to be a Bernie bro in 16, anti-gun socialist, raised Democrat by feminist single mom. Struggled through my teens and 20s with toxic relationships, was a nice guy type. Sneaky fucker. Oof. Couldn't keep a job, always poor. My awakening started with the way Dems slighted Bernie in the primaries, which triggered me to look deeper.
Yeah.
Eventually, I found Tim rambling on the internet, started to listen, got hooked. Left the left-wing city to work the oil fields in another state. Added Timcast IRL to my daily routine when it launched. Now in my mid-30s, I'm a trucker. Moved to a rural area, grow my own vegetables, have chickens. Chickens!
Nice, dude.
Went from 0 rifle to 7 rifle, ranging from 22 LR to 50 BMG. Have a 6-month food supply, bought Bitcoin, and best of all, I married my wife in December of last year. At the end of this month, we will welcome our first son. Congratulations.
Dude, this guy is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim and crew.
Guy's killing it.
Through spreading information and knowledge, it helped turn my life around for the better. Side note, Ian, I used to hate you with a passion, but now I am sad when you're not on the show.
Oh, that's awesome. That's even better than just blindly liking me. So thanks.
It is funny. There was that nice woman who came to the event, and she was like, Ian, I used to not like you, but now I love you so much.
I came in hot, man. I didn't know what I was doing here in the very beginning. I had to figure it out.
But she pointed out it's the rolling the ones and the 20s.
And also in the very beginning, I was treating this show like a jam session of me and Tim. So like I was equaling his energy as a host. And I didn't think of it at the very beginning. I was like, yeah, it's just me and Tim, 50-50. But in reality, now it's more of an orchestra and he's the conductor and I'm playing like first trumpet or something. So it's way more smooth. There's less
First
room
trumpet.
for like people being like, shut up, idiot. Let the guy talk.
All right. Lee Pilkovsky says, hi, Tim. Normally at this time of year, I listen while making maple syrup in my sugar house. Ooh, wow. Unfortunately, it burned last week. It was a total loss. Now being investigated as
Not the
arson.
sugar
Oh, no,
house.
man. Sorry to hear.
This is crazy. I want an update on this.
Could you please shout out my Give, Send, Go campaign to help rebuild? Search for Colonial Mountain Maple. Let's do that right now.
Immediately.
Colonial Mountain Maple. I am pulling that up. Give me a second.
Sorry about the loss, man. That sucks.
Yeah, that sucks. This also feels like it's like a cross between a true crime movie and a Hallmark movie. Like someone came to burn the sugar house down. Crazy.
There it is. Colonial Mountain Maple. And what's the goal? What's
I don't know.
the
Does it-
target
does it
here?
say there?
I'm on mobile, and I don't think it has a goal.
Oh, okay.
But I will give. Oh, look at that! A Timcast IRL viewer already gave. I too will give. What is a good amount to give?
I want to search there. What are they doing? They're building
They're rebuilding
the
their
maple syrup house.
the maple syrup house where they make sugar.
I don't know how much that cost. $10,000?
Google it.
I don't know, something like that.
Well, I'm putting in
$5,000, $10,000. Do some huge amount.
I'm putting in $1,000, and I'm also kicking a little bit extra to Give, Send, Go because they are good.
Oh, nice.
We're gonna give a little extra to Give,
Get
Send,
that
Go.
new sugar house up. We need that
As
maple.
arson, I'm sorry. This is
Dude,
a
Hannah
movie
Claire's
waiting
lit
to
right
be
now, by
made.
the way. She's pissed.
Yeah,
How
I
could
Mess with
someone-
her sugar.
What are they doing? Messing with the maple sugar house?
Yeah.
That's also like a cultural thing. That's a regional thing. How could they do this? This is a crime against humanity.
yeah,
wonder
not
how
to
it
to
smells.
mention-
So you know,
Yeah.
I love
It's
Go
so
fund
sticky.
me.
It's like completely caramelized. It's the worst.
GoFundMe is always like when you give someone money, it says, "Would you like to give us some money to help us?" I'm like, no.
Please?
But Give, Send, Go, I gave.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
They're notoriously
So
good.
$1,000 your way. Best of luck, good sir, on your maple and your sugar house.
And with the court proceedings that they don't
Yeah.
actually charge you with that. I'm
Colonial
sorry, man.
Mountain Maple, man. Sorry to hear it.
I want pictures
but,
of the new maple house.
Get insurance.
Yeah, I get insurance.
There you go. All right, here we go. Extra Pretty Lady says, long time supporting Berkeley County member, 2015. Son's dream came true. Avril was approved by ATF to sell and manufacture from Hedgesville, West Virginia. Help us celebrate
Oh, no way.
with free layaways. Berkeley Ammo RY. All right, glad to
cool.
hear it.
That's local
Congratulations.
too. Very
Berkeley.
cool.
That's really cool. That's
Berkeley.
really close.
Yeah, Berkeley County.
Hedgesville, that's like...
Logan Miller says, I did an oil painting of President Trump, placed it on my website for sale. Went to run an ad on Facebook and they refuse, stating it was social issues and politics. It is a historical painting. I'll paint Obama and see what Phil will run.
What is the web? I wanted the
Yeah,
website.
so-
I wanted to look at it.
We for the painting of Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You can look up Logan Miller Trump painting. That's his name. Well, let's read some more. Raymond G. Stanley Jr. says, guys, what's your thoughts on Katie Britt's response? For me, it was a roller coaster of cringe with soft speak and anger. A younger female Joe Biden. I don't know who watched it.
I watched it.
What did you think?
Well, I don't think it spoke to me, and I think Katie Britt's a good senator, but the intended audience, it probably was effective, which is suburban moms who may not know the impacts of our open border, and I think she presented it in a way that could resonate it. But for someone like me, I thought it wasn't speaking to me. I mean, she was like, the kitchen backdrop was kind of unusual.
That was their plan. Suburban moms.
Yeah, and it came off like very Hollywood and
Came off a
very-
little staged to me.
Yeah, and Bobby Jindal, he did that mistake when he was the governor of Louisiana.
See, this is what Republicans don't get. They're like, you know what we should do? We want to win suburban moms. We need to get like someone who's a comparable age who can like speak to them.
Yeah.
Wrong. They should have got a hot yoga instructor. I'm not joking. A suave looking guy, and he should have been a strong man in like a suburban house kind of setting, not a kitchen. And he should have been very smiley and assertive and calm, but strong, piercing. That's what you do. That you got to get a competent Justin Trudeau like figure.
Did you see? I guess the Republican response. The last time it was a white man, I think was like 2012 or something.
Wow,
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is it going to be effective? Maybe. It depends on who
they could go for a swarthy, chiseled, guy.
We got to start looking at these Congress members. Who is the swarthiest and most
Chiseledest?
Chiseledest is what I was about to say.
The chiseledest of all?
Who is the most
They don't
chiseled
get
in
it.
Congress?
Well, I saw
Matt Gaetz.
Carrie Lake did a response. I thought hers was actually really effective, and it was a pretty good response. So,
Look, I'm gonna let you guys in on
You
a
just
secret.
think that because you're from Arizona.
I love Carrie. Yeah.
working in everybody who's watched if you've seen every episode of the show, you know what I'm going to say, but many of you haven't. Working in nonprofit fundraising, you are not allowed to tell any of the fundraisers the most effective, like the character traits, the personal traits that result in the highest amount of contributions. For as most of the viewers who are fans have seen me say this 3 times, I'll ask you, Abe, what do you think for a man? What is the trait of a man that is most likely to result in a yes for a contribution or a sale?
Confidence.
That's a good one, but it's not the number one. Any other guess? Height. Tall guys, no matter how stupid, for some reason, always brought in massive cash. Now, what do you think the number one trait for women was?
Attractiveness.
But more specific.
Don't make me.
So you're not allowed to say this at nonprofits because they'll get in trouble with HR and they'll get in trouble. But I would say, having worked in like 5 or 6 offices and as a director and as a associate director and training director, women with large breasts had a very high rate of success in fundraising, and tall guys. You could bring in the smartest, savviest, smooth-talkingest woman, and on average, the women who came in with knowledge and confidence, they would do well. But you got a woman who was smart, capable, confident, knowledgeable, large breasts. She would come back with like 15 new members every day, and she'd be making 6 figures. You get a guy who was smart, knowledgeable, competent, capable, passionate, and tall, same deal. But then I'd notice you take someone who's dumb as a box of rocks, but 6'5", and I knew a guy like this, and this dude could sell. I was like, man, and I'm like, I need to know your secret. How are you getting these massive numbers? Let me hear your pitch. So we have a problem that you know what I mean, right? Like it's the environment, we live in it. And, well, I think you should help. So we're doing donations, and the women were just like, yes, whatever you want, please tell me more. And this guy would just come back and be like, it's so easy to make money. And I would just laugh. I'd be like, wow. But I also knew this guy who was 5'2", who also would make tons of money. And he was this other character type. Talks like this. Listen, I'm going to tell you what you need. What you need to do right now, if you want to be happy, you want to get the job done, you got to talk to me. I'm going to come this way. Come this way. Put his arm around you. And then that dude.
I always love people like that.
Yeah. He was short. He was chubby. And he could sell.
Yeah.
And he would also do really, really well too. But I'm just saying there's a tendency. Tall guys and busty women. But attractiveness is the general obvious thing because, they don't have to be busty, but guys, you go to a financial center of like Chicago or whatever, and there are dead zones where it's like, good luck raising money there. It's all guys in suits. They won't talk to you. They don't want to talk to you. They disdain you. And that's where they won't tell you this, but the directors who run the office who know they can't publicly say it, they'll just be like, Janet, we're going to send you to the financial center again. And she goes, oh, great. I love going there. And everyone else is like, how do you get people to stop and talk to you? It's like, well, 30-year-old dude in a suit sees a beautiful woman, and he's stopping. He's on his lunch break, and he's like, I want to hear what she has to say.
3 minutes of flirty time is worth my donation.
But the reality is it feels good for the guy.
Yeah.
This woman's giving him attention, talking to him, smiling. He's like, it makes him feel better, Let's grab some more super chats. Let's go. Marin Taylor says, when Biden started talking about Laken Riley, and he pulled that thing out from behind the podium, I swear to God, I thought it was an egg. I kept waiting for him to crush it in some kind of sick senile analogy. It was the pin, I believe, that Marjorie Taylor Greene gave him. Yeah.
That said Laken Riley.
And he looked at it, he's like,
Lincoln. Messed it up.
He couldn't read it. Brutal. And Marjorie Taylor Greene yelled during this. They didn't throw her out and arrest her. You know what?
Dean Phillips said something like that. They're like, they didn't eject and arrest Marjorie Taylor Greene, so why did they arrest
really?
this guy? Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
They
Good
got
for
to
him.
scrub that guy's misdemeanor. You got to do that.
They have to bring him up, apologize to him, give him some time to speak, but he won't do it because it's bad for him. I hope Ducey asks Karine about it. Eric Miller says, Tim, about TikTok, how about we don't ban TikTok, but say as long as it's not American social media company, it doesn't get 230 protections. They can operate, but they're open for lawsuits. To be fair, that's just shutting them down with extra steps. It's like stripping them of liability protections is they're over overnight. You know,
just got this breaking that a helicopter went down on the U.S.-Mexico border.
That was a while ago, actually.
Okay.
That was today.
This is from the AP from like 40 minutes ago. Okay, you already knew about it?
A National Guard helicopter crashed earlier.
Killing 3 people on board.
Earlier today.
Okay.
Yeah.
National Guard members and a Border Patrol agent.
Yeah, and the other story was that cartel members apparently released video of them laughing as it happened.
Really?
Yeah, something like that. Stephen Kilsdonk says, Tim, it's also my birthday tomorrow, so happy birthday. Shoplifters should be called undocumented customers. Did I hear right that Timcast is sponsoring a NASCAR at some point? We, yes, we have, I don't know when or how we should announce it, but we basically did a handshake with Cody Dennison. So we're excited and we're buying the full wrap, and I'm trying to get some other people involved, but I'm 100% on board. So I just got to figure out where we're currently at with it. I think he sent us paperwork and we're going through it. So excited.
That's huge.
Very cool.
Yeah. He's on YouTube too. What's his channel? Do you know his channel? You want to look it up?
Who is it?
Was it Camel Cast or something? Cody Dennison. He's a driver.
Oh,
apparently he's done. Yeah.
Yeah. We played video games on Gamer Maze.
That's right. Yeah. He was
week.
here on Pop Culture Crisis. And then they came up to me and they mentioned, Brett brought him over and he's like, yeah, he's looking for sponsors for his car. And I was like, done. And I shook his hand and he was like, what, really? I'm like, yes, this is great. We love it. We're really excited. And we'll go down to one of the races and we'll hang out.
The full wrap.
Yeah.
What are you going to put on it?
Timcast. But I'm hoping that we can get some other companies to be on it as well because there's other spots on it. But yeah, it'll just be Timcast, you know.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
You know what his channel's? Xavier asking me what his channel's called. I'm not seeing it.
Did you Google it?
Yeah.
He's on.
I'm searching it on YouTube, but I'm not finding it through that. Maybe searching it through the internet's a better way.
We'll make sure we get it. I don't know. What
Are you a NASCAR guy? Do you like NASCAR?
Cody Dennison.
No, I think I can only watch cars go in circles. Anytime.
Is it Camelot or something?
Fair. It's a complicated sport. Not everyone understands it.
Do you like NASCAR?
I mean, I don't not like it. I have no opinion on it.
Right. Say.
It's cool to see how many people in NASCAR just naturally lean like more politically.
It's where FJB came from, baby.
I know, it's so funny.
That's why I'm like, yes, I'm on board. This is where legends are made.
Yeah, I'm not against it, but I just don't particularly watch it. But
I'm sure in person it'd be really fun.
I feel that's what I've always
excited.
heard, that it's actually one of the best places to go, like with a family of like a bunch of kids of different ages, because like the cars are interesting. There's food. There's like noise. Like there's a lot of stuff to do. So we'll see.
Let's go. Ultima says, I do think a good exchange would be if you have a baby as a woman, then you can vote. Take away single childless women's right to vote. Based.
Okay, the only caveat to that is like
That'll
if
get you
you
banned on
have a
TikTok.
woman who is like infertile, who
course.
can't have a kid, what's her option there?
Draft.
She has to be in the draft.
Look,
she
how
legitimately
about
wants
this?
to have one.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
service could be if you are in civic duty of any kind. If you're a paramedic, you know, if you've, and maybe there could be a threshold of like limited community service, and or if you're a woman, it's that, or you had kids. Yeah.
We
I
could,
like
we
tax
could
credits
save
for
the
kids.
birth rate. This is it.
I mean,
I don't-
look, the problem, it can be solved very easily. Conservatives and libertarians, post-liberals, anti-woke, anti-establishment, have as many kids as you can. Let the liberals not have kids. I celebrate their not wanting to have children. Thank you so much for sacrificing for us.
But we want
My future kids will be much, much better off because they aren't having kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be, the children of conservatives are going to grow up and they're going to be in their early 30s and they're going to be voting, and the country is getting cleaned up. The streets are being cleaned. The businesses are booming. And they're going to be going to their parents and be like, what were you guys complaining about? Everything's so nice. And they're going to be like, you have no idea. But the liberals aren't going to have kids.
Good times.
But do you think that's happening when you have, I don't know if anybody else served in the military, but the greatest thing about the military is it's the greatest equalizer. No matter if you're poor, rich, what religion you are, what race you are, brings everybody together. You wear that same uniform, but then you're seeing the military's recruitment is way below now. I mean, I think they missed it by 40,000.
Yeah.
So what kind of generation are we creating where people no longer want to serve and defend this country anymore?
Well, they don't want to serve and defend the likes of Joe Biden and the Uniparty establishment. So a good one. And once the inevitability is our children will inherit this country, they will inherit the world. So the less liberal ideology expands. I know everybody always says, yeah, but they're indoctrinating kids. Yeah, but they're losing. They're screaming you're banning books because we are winning. So they don't have kids and their ideological push is being thwarted. And now with Gen Z being the most conservative generation in 100 years, and that's true, and that means tending conservative. They're skewing back towards the conservative side. Gen Z's view of same-sex marriage is now comparable to that of, I think, the silent generation or something like this. Like, they're opposing same-sex marriage. With that push, millennials can scream and cry and try to indoctrinate all night. But the latest poll was 65% of Gen Z said, in the poll, calm down, Ian, said that Donald Trump is going to shake up the country for the better. So this is now the 5th or 6th poll showing Gen Z skewing towards Trump. So they can indoctrinate all they want, they can try all they want, but the future is clear.
Yeah, but if you go to Ivy League schools, and you see the percentage of people who identify as LGBTQ, it's like astronomical, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
But it does,
when
because
Gen Z opposes same-sex marriage at a rate comparable to like the silent.
But
generation.
you're talking about the general population when you're talking about who's going to be leading these institutions, who are going to be our prosecutors, our judges.
But those institutions are failing
completely.
Yeah.
So what's going to come about society?
So when like the military is a good example, when they fail to get their recruitment numbers, and and Donald Trump gets elected. And then Donald Trump appoints some people who are okay. He doesn't have the best track record on hiring. But then, 20 years from now, you're the president and you are going to weed out the bad people and bring in good people. Then all of a sudden people want to join up again. All of a sudden people are like, did you see what President Hamadeh is doing? He's getting rid of all the weird woke garbage. He's instituting these programs that are going to be beneficial for veterans. He's helping. And then they start voting for better members of Congress. And then the military will be built back up.
Going back to Ian's point about our elections, right? I mean, our elections are severely compromised. I've witnessed it firsthand in Arizona. There's still 9,000 uncounted ballots in the 2022 election, and we lost it by 280. So when you start to see that the apparatus, whether it's the media, whether it's the machines, I mean, that's actually what we were down 511 votes and went down to 280 because there was a machine, ES&S machines, reading the ballots incorrectly in one county. So there's so much more to it.
I agree. I hear you. I'm just saying that that system can't sustain itself if Gen Z is skewing further and further right as time goes on. Eventually what happens is the judges and the lawyers that are fighting and winning cease to exist. As time goes on, they retire, they quit, they pass. There's going to be, over time, more conservatives than liberals. And then it comes down to 20 lawsuits are filed in Arizona from the right and 3 from the left. And the left might win 1 or 2, but eventually the right just overwhelms. But
that's assuming they're not going to change the rules once they take power, which they are doing.
What you would be describing then is a fringe ideology in control of institutions with a majority population sitting back and accepting it, which I don't see as being possible.
I think that's what we're witnessing right now.
But we're in the middle of it. I'm saying in 20 years, the way Gen Z is skewing, it will be untenable for the left to maintain what they're doing. The institutions will falter. Disney's losing billions of dollars. Bud Light lost 40 billion, 30 billion in stock value and 10 billion in sales. It's just going to slowly stop working. And what'll end up happening is you'll see a skew where you'll get more right, like moderate leaning Democrats to try and win their districts because they're unpopular. The progressives will not be working. Sure, they'll try and play dirty games, but eventually the system just won't operate the way they want it to because the population is against them. It will crack. But you know what? We'll see. And we'll wrap it up there. So if you haven't already, would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. And if you're not already a member, tomorrow's my birthday. So head over to, you know what I'll do? I'll do a shout out today and Monday. Because we don't have a show on Saturday. Go to timcast.com, click join us, become a member at $10 a month, get access to all of our wonderful content, join the Discord server, hang out with like-minded individuals, and that would be the best birthday present a man could ask for. You can follow the show at Timcast IRL. You can follow me personally at Timcast. Follow me on Instagram. We're going to have some updates from Boonies. Abe, do you want to shout anything out?
I just want to thank you all for having me. And, I'm a young man getting into politics. And I think that, you're really tested when the whole world's coming after you. I had the establishment come after me after November 2022, try to make me not go and contest my election. I'm still in lawsuits over that because of what those corrupt people did is they really stole the votes of so many Arizonans. So, I've gained decades of knowledge in a condensed 1 year period of time. And I can't wait to go into Congress to bring all of that courage and fight in me because our country is not headed in the right direction. And that's why I'm proud to be endorsed by President Trump, and Carrie Lake will be our next senator. And I think we're going to, I think it's better days are ahead of us because I do think people are waking up, and they can go to my website at abe4az.com if they want to learn more.
Are you in a Republican, what's your district?
Yeah, it's I won that district in the AG race by 12%. So it's very Republican.
Oh, okay, right on. Cool. Looking forward to it. Thanks for coming, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.
Are you on Twitter or Instagram or anything?
Yep. Twitter, Instagram, Truth Social at Abraham Hamadeh.
Nice. Awesome. It's been fun having you here.
Thank you, guys.
Happy birthday to Tim. Hope you have a great Saturday. I'm Hannah Claire Brimlow. I'm a writer for scnr.com. You can follow our work at Timcast News on Twitter and Instagram. I'm on Twitter at HCBrimlow, and I'm on Instagram at HannahClaire.b. Have a great weekend. Bye, Ian.
Too. Happy birthday, Tim. See you guys later. Abe, good to meet you, man. I'm going to be out of town next week, everyone. I'll be working out with Luke Rudkowski at We Are Change on the best political show through the week. I think it's like 6 p.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern. It's right before this show. Monday through whatever. It's going to be X amount of days in the week. So we'll see you then. So tune in and we'll keep in touch. Follow me on the internet, Tim. Happy birthday, man.
It'll be fun.
Have a good time on that 80-foot ramp you guys are going to be dropping in on, and let me know how it goes, brother.
It's 22 from the top, 22 feet.
22 foot. Cool looking. Oh, get another photo of that with a human standing there for reference.
I think if we do that, people might be like, maybe I can't.
Yeah.
I think they don't realize
the door was in the shot though.
And I don't think people know how tall the door is.
I didn't even know it was a door. Yeah. All right, Serge. Have a nice weekend, man.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. And to everyone else as well, have a good weekend. I'll see you tomorrow, Tim. It'll be fun.
All right. Yeah, we're going to do the soft session, soft open. So thank you all so much for hanging out. Become a member at timcast.com, and we will see you all on... We'll see you throughout the weekend with our clips. Watch the clips on Timcast IRL on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. We'll see y'all next time.